Chapter 1329. The crimson divine flame descended from the nine heavens, descending upon the world. A woman in a red dress appeared from within the divine flame like a fairy, descending right between the two parties. She alone was enough to stun the entire place. Tao-seeking palace, purple cloud king valley, demon-ranking enforcers, 3 elders of sword region, 3 ghostly saints, and all the experts were shocked. Other weak forces might not recognize it, but they would not. That divine flame was the unique symbol of a certain force. Divine Flame Palace. This force once stood at the peak of the sacred boundary and ruled over the 36 regions, dominating an entire era. Even though there were changes and Divine Flame Palace declined, their foundation was still not something they could compare with. If it was an ordinary expert from Divine Flame Palace, it would be fine. However, the 3 elders of Sword Region, Jian Cheng, and the enforcers had all seen this lady's portrait. One of the 2 honorable guardians of Divine Flame Palace, Shenghuanju, the 3 ghostly saints of gloom, were shocked. Purple Cloud King Valley's Zi Tianhu clicked his tongue in wonder and gasped in amazement. Too strong. My mother. Even if our Violet Cloud King Valley didn't come, nothing would happen to this brat. Divine Flame Palace was famous among the 6th grade sects and above. Everyone knew about it. Even the group of unruly sword saints from the sword domain looked at Lin Shan with gazes of shock that were difficult to conceal, and it wasn't an exaggeration to say that all of them were dumbstruck. If Divine Flame Palace could move for him, they would not be so shocked if it was an ordinary elder. But this was an honorable guardian. Divine Flame Palace only had 2 honorable guardians, and each of them was once a figure in the sacred boundary. They had reached the peak of the demon ranking and were listed on the saint talent ranking. They were second only to the palace master and ancestor of Divine Flame Palace. It was not an exaggeration to call them second in command. Who was this kid that could make the second in command of Divine Flame Palace come to Mystic Region? Does this kid have a background? Didn't Qing Chang say that he has no background? Not to mention a 6th grade Saint Alchemist. Even a 7th grade or 8th grade Saint Alchemist would not be able to move Divine Flame Palace. The eyes of the 3 elders of the Sword Region were filled with shock. Even in their Sword Region, there were few who could match this woman. Perhaps only those few from the past could compare to her. Lin Chen's handsome face froze. His mouth was slightly agape, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. This red-clothed woman, Shenghuanju, was the great figure who had once descended upon the 9 provinces to take Bai Ruoyan away. As if sensing Lin Chen's puzzled gaze, Shenghuanju laughed and scolded, "Brat, what are you looking at? You don't know Ruoyan, but Ruoyan knows you well. You can cause trouble no matter where you go. If you die here, Ruoyan, this girl won't go berserk. Didn't I have to clean up the mess for you?" The corners of Lin Chen's mouth twitched. Sister Ruoyan really knew him well. In fact, there was one more thing that she did not mention. If Lin Chen died, Bai Ruoyan would not be the only one who would go berserk. There was also Shun Ling Shuang, who was now the most popular figure in the Godly Flame Palace. Shenghuanju almost completely ignored the law enforcement team opposite her and lectured Lin Chen severely. "Brat, don't you know how to be smart? How can you kill someone from the demon genius list openly? You can just find a place to trick him a few times. No one will care about you even if you try. If you do it openly, isn't that like a bandit committing rape on the street?" The corners of Lin Chen's mouth twitched slightly. This great and was really too domineering, but this handsome guy likes this attitude. To say this in front of the leaders of the law enforcement team of the demon genius list, does she not want face? The experts of the Sword Region instantly felt the pressure decrease. They held the attitude of watching a show with ridicule on their faces. What a joke. With the Godly Flame Palace's venerable guardians here, they did not even have the chance to attack. Unexpectedly, the 3 ghostly saints and the leader of the law enforcement team were livid, but they did not even dare to let out a fart. Suppression. This was true suppression of strength. If you have a bigger fist, you could be bullied. If you don't have strength, face is nothing. The 3 ghostly saints of the Fiend tried to act tough. The dark ghost saint with the middle head gritted his teeth and said, "Senior, we also have connections with those people above us. Aren't you afraid of causing a war between the regions by bullying us openly?" Shangguan Ju pretended to be enlightened. "Oh, so you want to be fair? I like fairness the most." Shangguan Ju waved her sleeve, and her beautiful lips curled up slightly. "All right, cut the crap. Strength speaks for itself. Let's fight one-on-one. All of you come at me together. I'll fight all of you alone." Lin Chun. Why do these words sound so familiar? Hearing this, all the experts felt their scalps tingle. The people of the Tao-seeking palace were so scared that they retreated thousands of miles, their teeth chattering. Not to mention the experts of the law enforcement team. Even the three ghostly saints of the Yin Fiend could not help but take a step back subconsciously. Forget it. Who the hell wants to fight with you? Fight with the Divine Flame Palace's venerable guardians? Are you tired of living? The little demon empress' beautiful eyes lit up as if she had seen her idol. At this moment, she was staring at Shangguan Ju with a face full of admiration. Shangguan Ju smiled and scolded coldly. "If you don't come, remember it in the future. This kid is under my, Shangguan Ju's protection. If anyone wants to mess with him, they'll have to mess with me first." Lin Chun. Why does it sound a little weird? The members of the law enforcement team looked at each other. Were they going to be humiliated again? Back then, it was the Sword region. Now, it was the Divine Flame Palace. If this continued, the law enforcement team of the Demon Genius list would lose their dignity. Suddenly, Shangguan Ju's beautiful eyes focused, and she turned to look at the distant void in an instant. Almost at the moment when Shangguan Ju reacted, powerful and calm, domineering laughter echoed between heaven and earth. "Oh, Divine Flame Palace, do you really think that you're the overlord of the sacred boundary? Today, no one can save this kid's life." The laughter was like thunder, shaking heaven and earth. Lin Chen's spiritual perception felt as if it had been struck by lightning. Although it did not cause any substantial damage, he felt an extremely terrifying holy aura. Puffed. Boom, boom, boom. The laughter reverberated between heaven and earth. Waves of pitch-black shadows covered the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Tens of millions of miles in radius seemed to have fallen into endless darkness. All the experts who had just relaxed were instantly on full alert. Even Shangguan Ju's snow-white face showed a touch of strangeness and doubt. She felt a very strange aura in the dark aura that covered the sky. The Dark Shadow Clan, the Dragon Clan, the Devil Clan, they were all mixed together. Sizzle. The little shadow on Lin Chen's shoulder suddenly went crazy and bared its teeth. The dark shadow in the shape of a black dragon flew up and circled above Lin Chen's head. It revealed its original body and stared straight ahead. This aura is exactly the same as the little shadows. While Lin Chun was shocked, an ancient mirror in the peach blossom plant pouch was shining. It seemed to have sensed the call and wanted a riot. However, it was directly suppressed by Lin Chen's avatar. Lin Chun was shocked. This was the sky-devouring mirror. The person who came was the owner of the sky-devouring mirror? If that was the case, the endless dark shadows seemed to drag heaven and earth into the boundless void. Other than Shangguan Ju, everyone lost their perception of space and couldn't even break through space. A black cloud appeared in the sky. Whether it was the enforcement team of the monster list, Sword Domain, Purple Cloud King Valley, or Lin Chen's people, they all looked in the direction of the black cloud. The black cloud rolled, and 7 figures gradually appeared. The leader was a young man with an imposing appearance and a jade-like face, but he was slightly pale. There was a red between his eyebrows, and his entire body was flowing with colorful brilliance. That was the light that belonged to odd crystals. Next to him was an old man with a seemingly benevolent face. His old eyes were rolling with crazy killing intent and greed as he stared in Lin Chen's direction. The people of the enforcement team were the first to recognize the person on the black cloud. The former first on the monster list, Yin Son of Heaven. The old man standing next to him was the long-dead Tua Sheng. No, to be precise, It should be the ultimate shadow who possessed Tuo Sheng's body. Lin Chun silently clenched his fists while the little shadow let out a faint roar. In that instant, the gazes of two archenemies collided, ignoring all the experts present. Lin Chun against Yin Son of Heaven. The 14th stage Ultimate Shadow against the 13th stage Ultimate Shadow. Chapter 1330. The sudden appearance of Son of Heaven Yin and the 14th Ultimate Shadow, who had taken over Tuo Sheng's body, had caught everyone by surprise. Lin Chen's heart sank when he saw the old man. This was probably Tuo Sheng's former saint body, and now it had become the body of the 14th Ultimate Shadow. Previous mistake, Little Shadow, was the 15th. Even a former number 1 on the monstrous genius list is here. Son of Heaven Yin, didn't he disappear for many years? Why did he suddenly appear? According to my information, didn't he disappear with the 9th Yin Heaven sect? Also, it was rumored that after his master died, this child disappeared without a trace. What a powerful aura! Even I can't see through his cultivation. The captains of the enforcement team were shocked, and the 3 ghostly saints of the Yin Fiend were on high alert as they sized up Son of Heaven Yin and the rest. The situation was so chaotic, and the slightest carelessness would result in a bloody loss. Son of Heaven Yin was both evil and righteous, and no one truly understood him. Back then, when he ascended to the first place of the Monster Genius ranking, he could be said to have occupied the glory of the 36 domains and stood at the peak of the Monster Genius ranking. However, when everyone thought that Son of Heaven Yin would attack the Saint Talent list and become a member of the list, standing at the peak of the sacred boundary, he disappeared at the moment when he was most proud of his success. He had even chosen to withdraw from the first place of the monstrous genius list. This choice and result back then had caused an uproar among all the sects. What was even stranger was that a top 7th grade sect, the 9th Yin Heaven sect, had mysteriously disappeared when Son of Heaven Yin withdrew from the monstrous genius list. Even the independent space opened by the sect had been completely closed. After that, news of the 9th Yin Heaven sect and Son of Heaven Yin had completely disappeared from the sacred boundary. Until now, there had been no clear answer. Now, when they saw him again, his cultivation was even stronger than the 3 ghostly saints of the Yin Fiend. Is he the number 1 on the monstrous genius list who disappeared back then? This brat seems to have come for Lin Chen too. His cultivation is a little terrifying, and I can't see through him anymore. How many forces is he involved with? Everyone in Purple Cloud King Valley felt that an unprecedented storm was gradually appearing, with Lin Chun as the center. Son of Heaven Yin looked down at Lin Chun from above and smiled evilly. You seem to have inherited all of his teachings. Lin Chun suddenly laughed. His laughter was cold and sinister. That's right. Thanks to you, Senior Gu used his last strand of consciousness to entrust me with the task of eradicating a bastard like you. Oh, Son of Heaven Yin raised his eyebrows and smiled evilly. I'm afraid you won't be able to leave here alive today. A 3rd level saint can refine 39 odd crystals. Your mental cultivation method seems to be somewhat mysterious. It can actually ignore the number of odd crystals. At this moment, Ultimate Shadow, who had maintained the appearance of a Buddhist saint, began to distort and emit a sinister aura of shadow. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into a young man as pale as a sheet of paper. It licked its lips and stared at Little Shadow, its voice hoarse. It can't be wrong. Sure enough, it's true. This young fellow has the potential to be stronger than me. However, its weakness is also very obvious. There are clearly loopholes. Ha ha ha, after swallowing it, my bloodline will definitely rise to another level. At this moment, Shangwan Ju stepped forward. She was dressed in red, and her eyebrows were like fire. Her red lips parted slightly. Are you going to scram on your own, or get beaten up first? Although Son of Heaven Yin's aura and that Buddhist saint's aura were very strange, she, Shangwan Ju, wasn't someone to be trifled with. If they really fought, she wasn't afraid of the two at all. She was just worried about whether she could protect Lin Chun in all aspects. Son of Heaven Een glanced at Ultimate Shadow, then looked around and smiled faintly at the law enforcers. Everyone, you guys want Lin Chen's flesh shell? I want this brat's spiritual origin. I'll block the people from Divine Flame Palace for you guys. You guys block the people from Sword Realm, and we'll be responsible for taking him down. After saying that, Son of Heaven Een didn't even have time to think and charged at Shangguanju, courting death. Shangguanju's beautiful eyes scanned the entire scene and focused on Lin Chen. Her killing intent disappeared, and she flicked her slender fingers. A wisp of divine flame appeared on her fingertip, and a myriad blazing sun wheels spun in the sky. The center condensed into a divine light that crushed towards Son of Heaven Een. Son of Heaven Yin's palm was enshrouded in tens of thousands of colorful lights, and he actually didn't have any fear as he sent a palm forward. Chi! Bang! Heaven and earth collapsed, and the entire firmament cracked open. The earth veins instantly collapsed into abyss-like cracks. Fairy Scarlet's barrier suddenly shattered, and her beautiful face turned pale as she vomited blood. She waved her hand, and everyone from Ice Heart Palace entered her Providence plant pouch and quickly retreated. Attack! Kill these bastards from Sword Realm. The three ghostly saints suddenly shouted, and the law enforcers gritted their teeth and rushed over with their saint power. Defend them, don't let them come over. The three elders of Sword Realm suddenly shouted coldly, and took the lead to block the three ghostly saints. The auras of both sides shattered heaven and earth, forming a second round of battle. Take this brat down now. Dao-seeking Palace's experts swarmed forward, and the experts of Purple Cloud King Valley blocked them out of thin air. The law enforcers used their divine abilities, and the sword saints of Sword Realm performed supreme sword techniques. Their sharpness broke through the nine heavens, and their peerless sword techniques bloomed like sword lotuses. The moment the two sides exchanged blows, the sun and moon of the entire northwest region dimmed, as if doomsday had arrived. Ultimate Shadow and Son of Heaven Yin's servants took action and escaped into the void. Rumble. Purple Cloud King Valley's Zi Tianhu led the team and exploded the space with a punch, forcing several servants out. Together with the little demon Empress aunt and cousin, they intercepted 5 servants out of thin air. The situation of the battle could be said to be changing rapidly, and none of the experts present were weak. Excluding juniors like Lin Shun and Jian Qingcheng, the weakest was a perfect 5th-level saint. This scale of battle even surpassed the battle between Sword Realm and the main forces of the monster rankings. On the other side, this is an odd crystal. Shangguanju's expression changed slightly. Although Son of Heaven Een was a genius, he was still young. Furthermore, she was also an all-powerful figure on the monster rankings and had even entered the Saint Talent rankings. In terms of cultivation, Son of Heaven Een couldn't compare to Shangguanju. Your cultivation can't compete with mine. How many odd crystals do you control? Shangguanju threw out another palm, turning the sky and earth upside down and turning the mountains and seas into ashes. Hee, it's still too early to fight with you. Although I can't win against you, it's not a problem to delay you for a while. Son of Heaven Een laughed sinisterly. As the two exchanged blows, it was as if a small plane exploded every time, and no one dared to come close. Whoosh! A wisp of shadow escaped into the void and jumped through space unimpeded, breaking through the layers of seals. It was Ultimate Shadow. It went straight for Lin Shun and Little Shadow like a bolt of lightning, breaking through dozens of battle circles in the blink of an eye. Not good. This bastard is coming for me. Lin Shen's expression changed slightly, and he pulled Jian Qingcheng and the Little Demon Empress behind him. His arm and leg armor shone brightly, and Lin Chen's strength broke through 9 trillion dragon power, 10 trillion dragon power. Chapter 1331. Just as Lin Shun was about to launch a counterattack before his death, space was torn apart with a ripping sound. Sword Chi swept out for 108,000 miles, cutting off the ultimate dark shadow's path of advance. Oh, your swordsmanship is quite interesting. The ultimate dark shadow was forced to stop at the last minute. The pale young man's face flashed with a teasing smile. The man in the green robe stood in front of Lin Shun and the others with his sword in hand. His sword aura covered the sky. It was Jian Qingqing's father, Jian Cheng. Other than the three elders and Shang Wanjue, he was the only one who could stop the ultimate dark shadow. Kid, take Qing Cheng and leave. If anything happens to my daughter, I'll kill you with my next attack. Jian Cheng pretended to be fierce as he threatened. Who would have thought that Lin Shen would not play by the rules at all? With a backhand, he pushed the two girls away, and a gentle force sent them out of the chaotic battle area. Jian Cheng's eyes widened. Why didn't this kid leave? If anything happens to you, that girl's soul will be gone. Lin Shen rolled up his sleeves, and the power of the god of war Vambrace continued to rise. Don't be afraid of death. I'm going to kill this B** star today. Senior, create a chance for me. As long as I can hurt it, I'm confident that I can kill it. Lin Shen's imposing manner of looking down on the world made Jian Cheng involuntarily somewhat shocked, and raised his opinion of this young man once more. Kill it? Damn, you really have guts. In fact, it wasn't that Lin Shen didn't want to run. It was that he couldn't. He was very clear about the ultimate Dark Shadow's ability. The ultimate Dark Shadow, who hadn't completely gotten rid of its infant form, was able to pick up many secret treasures in the myriad treasures secret realm right under the nose of the green-robed man from the Pill region. Its mastery of the void was far superior to that of the human race. Not to mention the ultimate Dark Shadow, who had reached adulthood. There was no chance for him to run away. He would be caught in the blink of an eye. He could only fight to the death. One punch. As long as I can hurt it with one punch, I'll be able to kill it. The heaven-defying beast and the three pieces of the war god armor can't be attacked from a distance. The only way to trigger the heaven-defying beast is to hit it at close range. Little Dark Shadow seemed to have a telepathic connection with Lin Shun, constantly sensing the position of the ultimate Dark Shadow and transmitting it into Lin Shen's spiritual sea, letting him know the position of the ultimate Dark Shadow at all times. Little Umbra wasn't completely emotionless. It had been raised by Tuo Shang specifically to deal with the ultimate Umbra of the 14th stage. Since it was hatched as an egg, it had been imprinted with Tuo Shang's spiritual will. In a way, Little Umbra had an innate hostility toward Tuo Shang, and it had an innate hatred for its own kind. A sword saint like you isn't qualified to fight with me. Scram, don't get in my way. Ultimate Umbra roared and charged at Lin Shen again. Whether or not I'm qualified, I'll have to give it a try before I know. With a shake of the sword artifact in his palm reflected billions of starlight and gathered brilliantly. Like the last radiance of a star that had died billions of years ago, the sword slashed horizontally. This sword cleaved apart the clouds, and it was as if a river of stars was falling from the sky. It was an intermediate orange-grade cultivation technique, billion starlight. Executed by one of the sword domain's top 100 sword saints, its power could sweep across the sun, moon, and stars. Whoosh! Strangely, Ultimate Umbra's human form split into two forms. One of them had a monstrous demon chi. He pushed his palms horizontally, and a pitch-black demon abyss aura burst out of his palms. It was as if thousands of demons were wailing in pain. Bang! The sword light dissipated, and the starlight disappeared. Sect leader Jian Cheng retreated, his face pale. At this moment, the other ultimate Umbra's afterimage charged at Lin Shun. This is back. Jian Cheng was shocked, and a look of horror appeared on his face. He couldn't even block his opponent's doppelganger. The doppelganger was like the descent of a primordial demon king. It perfectly combined the aura of the innate Umbra and the demons. This was the first time Jian Cheng had encountered such a thing. It was impossible to guard against it. Everything happened in a fraction of a second. Before Lin Shun could even react, Ultimate Umbra was already above him. It was too fast. The innate Umbra was close to its peak, and its speed was even faster than Lin Shen's reaction speed, even though he was at the Great Mastery Saint Rudiment stage. Come here. You mine now. As Ultimate Umbra laughed evilly, it raised its hand, and a dark vortex spun in its palm. It devoured all the light in the world, and Lin Shun was sucked into the vortex and flew toward it. This was Ultimate Umbra's domain. Lin Shun couldn't even tear space apart. The moment it imprisoned Lin Shun and Little Umbra, its palm transformed into a black dragon claw and slashed down. The dark claw cut through the void as if time and space had been reversed. The rolling aura of the dark dragon could throw the world into chaos. Splat! The dragon claw easily tore apart the sacred dragon in front of Lin Shun. His sacred dragon was instantly injured and torn into 4 or 5 pieces by Ultimate Umbra. It was as fragile as paper. Ultimate Umbra combined the characteristics of the Dragon Clan, the Demon Clan, and the Dark Shadow Clan. It was infinitely close to being invincible. In a flash, the sacred dragon was cut into several pieces. While it was severely injured, Lin Shun was also injured. The moment blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, he instantly regained his senses. F***CK, I'm going all out. A ray of brilliant divine light burst forth from the god of war's vambrace. Lin Shun suddenly punched toward the sky, gathered his strength, and violently threw a punch. Even Lin Shun didn't know how much strength he used in this punch. He was completely relying on his instincts. Boom! Golden light pierced through the sky, and space collapsed. Bam! Lin Shun was sent flying, and when he fell, he completely smashed through the earth vein. When Lin Shen's punch collided with Ultimate Umbra's claw, heaven and earth were reversed, and a fist-sized spatial boundary point appeared. Ultimate Umbra took 2 steps back, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. This brat took my attack. All the experts looked at him in shock. This brat could unleash such terrifying power? This was equivalent to the pure power of a Soul Star Realm cultivator. The hearts of those from the Sword Realm and Purple Cloud King Valley almost thumped at the same time. This brat took that attack head-on. Even a Soul Star Realm cultivator would be severely injured. That claw wasn't Ultimate Umbra's full strength, and it couldn't even be considered serious. He first avoided Sect Master Jian Sheng's entanglement, then sealed the space and imprisoned Little Umbra to prevent it from escaping. It was completely a casual attack, and he thought it was enough to slap Lin Shen to death. Shangguan Ju's eyes were like lightning, and her beautiful figure flashed like a phantom. She forcefully broke through the encirclement, and she didn't even hesitate to exchange injury for injury to break through. Normally, even 5 Eans wouldn't be able to hurt her, but now, she couldn't care less. Nothing must happen to Lin Shun. Clang! A spatial boundary shrouded in darkness appeared out of nowhere and blocked Shangguan Ju. It was Ultimate Umbra's backup plan. What? Shangguan Ju was furious, and she was about to blast open the boundary when Little Umbra flashed toward Lin Shun again. It's too late. Almost all the experts had this thought at the same time. Even if the Guardian of Divine Flame Palace could quickly break through the boundary, it would be too late. However, in the next moment, it wasn't just the Northwest region. In this 1/10,000th of an instant, all the experts of the 6th rank sects and above in the entire Mystic Realm had a change in expression. Whether it was the 7th level Soul Star Realm, the 8th level Soul Realm, the 9th level Soul Realm, or the shocking experts in seclusion, all of them were awakened, and their expressions were extremely terrified. Shangguan Ju's beautiful pupils shrank. She could clearly see that a jade-white, slender hand had appeared above Ultimate Dark Shadow's head, and it had directly pressed down on Ultimate Dark Shadow's head. Splat! Bang! 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 The slender, jade-like hand crushed the insufferably arrogant Ultimate Umbra into a biscuit before he could even let out a cry. At this moment, all the experts felt their scalps go numb, and all the battles stopped in an instant. Directly crush Ultimate Umbra to death. Chapter 1332. In the mysterious territory's clear snow city, a Heaven Dipper realm youth pointed at the sky and exclaimed, "Grandfather, what is that?" His grandfather was a ninth-level combat emperor. He stared at the endless sky in a daze and said in disbelief, "The sky of the mysterious territory has split open." At this moment, the sky of the incomparably vast mystic realm, which contained thousands of lands, suddenly cracked open. It was as if the laws were collapsing and the universe was collapsing. In the northwest region, all the experts stopped fighting at the same time. A jade-like hand pinched the ultimate umbra like a biscuit and threw it away. A black face-like thing was thrown away. It was as if she had slapped an ant to death. Son of Heaven's pupils trembled. He had spent 10,000 odd crystals to barely stop Shangguan-Ju, but it ended like this? He had cooperated with the ultimate umbra many times. This palm wasn't enough to kill it, but it would at least be heavily injured. Crushing the ultimate umbra with one palm? As far as he knew, the experts that had appeared in the sacred boundary in recent years didn't have the strength to do so. All the experts stood on the spot in a daze, and no one dared to act rashly. The ultimate umbra's strength was clearly seen by everyone present. Only the Divine Flame Palace's venerable guardian, Shangguan-Ju, could defeat it. The others couldn't even stop it. Such a terrifying existence was actually killed with a single palm strike. The void split open, and a black-robed figure slowly walked out. Her face was covered with a veil, and her purple eyes were as beautiful as the stars in the night sky. The black-robed figure looked around, and everyone who was swept by her eyes felt as if they had fallen into hell. Their entire body felt cold, as if they were being watched by a great will. Both sides weren't on the same level at all. Could she be? Jian Sheng said in disbelief. It can't be wrong. It's that woman, the demon who broke the sacred prison by herself. What does she want to do? Why did she come to the mysterious territory? Could it be that she wants to start another war? Don't act rashly. We're not her opponent. Let's see how the venerable guardian of the Divine Flame Palace will react. The three elders of the Sword Domain looked extremely solemn. Even for the three old monsters, this person was the strongest expert they had ever seen in their lives. There was no one else. Damn it, why is she here? The three ghost saints felt their mouths go dry and their teeth chatter. This woman was simply not on a level that he could touch. In the entire sacred boundary, there was no one who could match her. Shangguan-Ju's delicate body suddenly trembled. Could it be her? She actually personally came to the sacred boundary. Back then, although the Divine Flame Palace did not directly participate in that great war, they witnessed the might of the demonic saber with their own eyes. A demonic saber had slain all the kings and saints of the human race. The only empress of the demon race, Luo Yao, wasn't she injured? Why would he personally come to the sacred boundary? Why did she come? Could it be that the great battle from back then was about to repeat itself? If she were to fight again, who could stop her now? Could it be? Recalling the situation at the Holy Burial Mountain Range, everyone from the Violet Cloud King Valley felt their hearts tremble. It couldn't be because of Lin Shun, could it? What kind of ability did this guy have? To be able to make the Empress take action for him? Son of Heaven stared at Luo Yao, Ur's back, and was secretly alarmed. Rumor has it that saints break through the 9 transformations and become Saint Kings after the 9 transformations. She is more powerful than any Saint King I have ever seen. Could it be the Divine Realm? At this moment, not only all the experts present, but all the peak saints of the entire mystic realm had sensed the arrival of this aura. If Luo Yao had snuck in, they would definitely not have discovered it. But she had brazenly descended. What was she trying to do? Cough, cough, cough. The youth's cough broke the silence. Lin Shun flew out from the ground, his body covered in blood as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, Little Shadow was injured and had been returned to the clear snow plant pouch. That guy used the power of the dragon race. The ultimate shadow is really terrifying. I can only use my life and death to fight to the end. When Lin Shun was about to search for the ultimate shadow, He realized that the surroundings had suddenly become extremely quiet. When he raised his head, he suddenly froze on the spot. "It's you?" Lin Chen recognized Luo Yaoer. The demonic seal in his palm was having an unprecedentedly strong reaction at this moment. What was different from before was that the current Luo Yaoer gave him an extremely cold feeling, just like when they first met. Moreover, she was even more powerful. Compared to before, she was so strong that it was simply a completely different concept. "You have to come with me." Luo Yao looked at Lin Shun. Her cold voice had a different kind of determination. Shang Guanju turned pale with fright and immediately flashed to Lin Chen's side. "Why do you want to take him away?" Shang Guanju said in a deep voice, his attitude firm. If Lin Shan was taken away by the Empress of the Demon Race, Bairuan's state of mind would be greatly damaged when she found out, not to mention Shunling Shuang, this girl. The Divine Flame Palace would lose two hopes of revival. It could be said that protecting Lin Shan now was to protect the flame of hope for the future of the Divine Flame Palace. Even if he had to risk his life, Shangguan Ju had to give it a try. This empress has never needed to explain anything to others. "Do you want to die?" Luo Yao was extremely cold, her eyes filled with purple light. Wait a minute. This senior is my acquaintance. Don't hurt your own people," Lin Chun hurriedly said. Even he couldn't understand Luo Yao's temper. If they really fought, wouldn't it be a fight between their own people? "Your acquaintance?" Luo Yao narrowed her eyes. "Are you speaking for another woman?" Lin Chun was stunned. This whoosh. The purple light in Luo Yao's eyes condensed and shot at Shangguan Ju. She was shocked, and the 9-layer burning seal in her palm was about to explode. A purple light cage instantly imprisoned her body, making her unable to move. Hiss! All the strong people present gasped fiercely. Too terrifying. Immobilizing the Divine Flame Palace's guardian venerable with just one look? Luo Yao raised her hand and grabbed, and Lin Shun was carried away by her, as if he had jumped into the void. Luo Yao stepped into the void, and no one dared to stop her. Shang Guanju's expression changed greatly. He couldn't break the boundary. Lin Shun, in the distance, Jian Qingqing's beautiful face turned pale, and a rare look of worry appeared on the little demon emperor's face. The strange thing was, when Luo Yao left, she actually turned back to look at her children, and for the first time, a delicate moan came from under the veil. Umph! After the empress left, everyone couldn't calm down for a long time. They didn't expect that the empress of the demon race would come for this youth. No one knew whether he was dead or alive this time. "Father, what will happen to him?" Jian Qingcheng flew over anxiously. Jian Cheng smiled bitterly and said, "This time, it's really beyond your father's ability. That person's strength is too terrifying. Unless the sword god of our sword region appears, we don't even have the qualifications to die in our hands." Another sword saint said seriously, "Didn't they say that this kid has some relationship with the demon race? There seems to be a female demon race in the sacred burial mountain range." Elder Jian Ming shook his head. "It's not that simple. The empress of the demon race is unpredictable. Who can guess her thoughts? There's no way to explain to her when. Oh no, I came personally and the result is still the same." Shangguan Ju, who was in the barrier, clenched his fists. Chapter 1333. Luo Yaoer took me away? What's the situation with everyone? What does she want to do? Lin Shun immediately felt the world spin, and in less than a breath, he appeared in a clear and fresh flower field. On the right side of the flower field pavilion, there were patches of white reeds, white and lustrous, and snow was flying. On the right side, hundreds of flowers bloomed, and the bewitching devil flowers bloomed. When the black roses bloomed, they emitted a unique light of the devil world, like gems in the dark night. Lin Shun was stunned by the scene in front of him, and when he came back to his senses, he discovered that his injuries had all been healed by the gentle energy flowing through the devil's seal in his palm. "This is my hometown," located at the very edge of the sacred boundary of the human race. Before I became the Empress, I spent my last period of time here. Now, things have changed. Luo Yao walked in front of Lin Shun and sighed faintly, no longer as cold as before. She removed her veil and turned to look at Lin Shun. Lin Shun was once again stunned by her. Her black hair was like a waterfall, her eyebrows were beautiful, her collar was like a mosquito, and her snowy and beautiful lines seemed to form the most beautiful face in the world. Beside her eyebrows was a little cinnabar, and she was extremely charming. There was a hint of relief and shyness between her brows. She had the face of a fairy, but she also had the extremely charming temperament of a witch. Any word or action of hers seemed to be able to arouse a man's most intuitive desire. The flowers of the devil world bloomed with a bewitching beauty, embellishing the beauty of the beauty. The fluttering snow reflected the beautiful scenery, as if it was the most beautiful scene in the world, and only Lin Shun could see it. If you regarded her as a fairy, she would be the most beautiful fairy in the world. If you regarded her as a witch, she would be the most charming person in the world. Luo Yao's beautiful eyes stared at Lin Shun, revealing a bitter smile. I'm about to lose my memories. From now on, other than the recovery plan of the Devil Cultivator, I will definitely not think of you again. This might be the last time we meet. Lin Shun was shocked. He had already guessed most of Luo Yao's identity. Didn't her words mean that the Devil Cultivator was going to make a big move? Didn't you come to take me away by force? Why did I lose my memory? Can I just not do it? Lin Chen's heart tightened. Luo Yao looked off into the distance and sighed. With great power comes great responsibility. Some things can't be avoided. Just as Lin Shun was about to speak, the beautiful woman turned her head to look at him. Her smile was beautiful and stunning, and there was a boundless gentleness between her brows. Her voice was soft and warm. Do you dare to kiss me? Lin Shun was stunned. While Lin Shun was still in a daze, the beauty kissed him, and their lips intertwined. This kiss was as passionate as fire, as tender as water, and as shy as farewell. The demon empress of a generation who had slaughtered the heavens and intimidated the human race in the sacred boundary was now looking at him with eyes as charming as spring water in March, and her cheeks were flushed red. What's going on? Lin Shun was halfway through the kiss when he instinctively resisted. Only then did he realize that his cultivation seemed to have completely disappeared, and he could not sense the existence of the Saint Force at all. Following that, the two of them landed in the sea of flowers. Patches of snow-white reed flowers danced in the air, and the demonic flowers of the demon realm bloomed, flashing a beautiful and suffocating scene. Host has triggered passive talent, dual cultivation, beginning to nurture 1% of the target's cultivation. As the sea of flowers rolled, Lin Shun saw the purple light on the beautiful woman's horn and couldn't help but sigh. What a beautiful horn! Why did you destroy it? The beautiful woman's delicate body trembled slightly. When she leaned close to his chest, her eyes were filled with boundless love. The human race despises the horns of the Devil Cultivator. How could you like it? Lin Shun laughed. I don't care about others, I just like it. If only I could grow it again. Luo Yao lightly punched him with her fists. Her sparkling cheeks flushed red as she pouted coquettishly. Then it's ugly to death, I don't want it. Don't want it? You were having a lot of fun just now. Then, let's be a little more happy next. When the corner of Luo Yao's lips rose, Lin Shun was in a daze, as if he saw the world's most charming demoness smiling sweetly at him, causing his mind to be distracted. In the future, you will definitely have a lot of women. Maybe you will forget me, but I want to carve it into your bones so that you will forever remember who is your empress. Luo Yao's charm was unparalleled. She bit Lin Chen's shoulder, causing him to faintly suck in cold air from the pain. The young man's chest, shoulders, neck, and eyebrows were full of the beautiful woman's bite marks and teeth marks. This bite stirred up heavenly lightning and earthly fire. When she was shy, she was like a fairy descending to the mortal world. When she was charming, she was like a demoness descending to the mortal world. This sacred boundary, the boundary of the human race, seemed to be endlessly playing out one scene after another. No one was able to enjoy it. Mysterious Domain's border, White Dragon Gate's territory, Crouching Dragon Mountain Range, outside the Way Sea. In a pavilion, 3 handsome men were drinking wine. They were either devilishly charming, dignified, or handsome and unrestrained. The dignified man sighed and said, "Back then, I was also one of the most handsome candidates in our class 66. Back then, when I followed the class monitor to pick up girls, this handsome guy had seen all kinds of women. This time, I actually got the cold shoulder. It was Ying Liang, Bai Juanhao, and Gu Chunfeng." Gu Chunfeng looked at him disdainfully. "How many cups did you drink? Did bragging get to your head like this? When the class monitor was picking up girls, you didn't even get a single strand of hair. Under the class monitor's brilliance, you are not even a fart. F*CK. Can you blame me? Who asked the class monitor to be so outstanding? Is it so sad for a handsome person to meet an even more handsome person? I'm not convinced." Bai Juanhao smiled bitterly at the side. Ever since Lin Shan sent gifts to the various sects of the 3 of them, their positions in the sects had greatly increased. In the mystic realm, they often formed teams to explore the hidden secret realm. This time, they happened to be on a mission together. When the brothers met, it was inevitable for them to brag. Suddenly, there was a violent tremor. The mountain range began to shake violently, waking the 3 of them up instantly. What's going on? Why is there an earthquake suddenly? That's strange. The Crouching Dragon Mountain Range is peaceful all year round. Why would there be an earthquake? Also, did you guys feel it? It's so shaking. It's been shaking for so long. The 3 of them narrowed their eyes and immediately took action. They stepped into the air and flew up. The terrifying earthquake caused the entire Crouching Dragon Mountain Range to tremble. Suddenly, when the earthquake slowed down slightly, an earth-shattering sound of huge waves could be heard in the distance outside the mountain range. Is the Way Sea erupting? What's going on? There's so much water. What a terrifying tsunami. While the 3 of them were shocked, an explosion in the Crouching Dragon Mountain Range tore through the clouds. A scorching and terrifying aura rolled across the sky and shot straight into the clouds. Hell-like lava splashed across the sky, forcing the 3 of them to activate their battle aura to defend themselves. The lava burned the entire sky. Clouds of fire rolled and shot straight into the 9 heavens, burning the sky crimson. Even the Crouching Dragon Mountain Range has erupted. Is a catastrophe coming? Why is the lava shooting so high? Bai Juanhao and Ying Liang were dumbfounded. They immediately retreated from the vicinity of the Crouching Dragon Mountain Range. For the next few days, the earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis did not stop. The 3 of them were bewildered. What was going on? Chapter 1334. At the border of the sacred boundary, the sea of flowers was beautiful. The dragon swam for thousands of miles, and this place was silent. The white dew turned into frost, and the sea of flowers swayed, and the moon was shy. The teeth marks were carved into his body, and the snow and jade reflected the spring. Lin Chen's body had been transformed by Long King Wo, and he had the physique of the sky-raising dragon King Spear, so he was extraordinarily strong. Not to mention, his flesh shell saint physique was extremely strong, and he could enjoy himself every night. Dual cultivation in progress. Host obtained 894. 9 billion battle chi essence, 700 billion blood chi energy. Repairing host sacred dragon physique, beginning to heal wounds. Lin Shen didn't know how long it had been. Not only were his injuries completely healed, but he had even ushered in a new breakthrough. Finally, when Luo Yao was satisfied, she lay in the youth's arms, and he quietly entered a state of cultivation. At this time, Lin Shen's face was not only red, but his entire body was covered in bright red teeth marks left by a beautiful woman. Her beautiful snow-white body stretched lazily in his arms, presenting a charming and peerless scene. When Luo Yao looked at Lin Chen again, she was slightly surprised. What a strong vitality. He broke through his cultivation. This is really a bad egg. Doing that kind of thing can also break through his cultivation. Her delicate hands caress his face, and Luo Yao was full of tenderness. You will be my Luo Yao's first and last man. The demonic seed has been planted in your body. I hope that after losing my memories, if I meet you again, I will be influenced by the demonic seed and not kill you. Her slender fingers continuously moved, and her fingers quickly drew a mark. Faint demonic energy engraved on Lin Chen's back, and a word flashed past. If his life is endangered, the entire race will be destroyed, Demon Empress. Luo Yao smiled sweetly. With this mark, those people of the human race will not make things difficult for you. I am leaving, but we won't even have a chance to say goodbye. Suddenly, Luo Yao threw herself into Lin Chen's arms, crying silently. After a long moment passed, she rose to her feet and left, leaving behind a spatial jade slip. Without the slightest hesitation, she turned and left. She was afraid that if she looked at him again, she wouldn't be willing to go back. On the other hand, Lin Chen's holy energy was like a raging dragon, unimpeded and unstoppable as he broke through 25, 26, 27 saint cavities. However, there was still no sign of stopping. It was only when Lin Chen experienced it himself that he found out that the dual cultivation acacia talent could actually allow the dual cultivator to achieve cultivation harmonization. If the cultivation of both parties were close to each other, they would progress together. If one party's cultivation was higher than the other party's, it would feed back to the other party. Furthermore, there would be no negative effects on the one receiving the reverse nurturing. Another 3 days and 3 nights passed. When Lin Chen opened his eyes again, the sea of flowers suddenly trembled. A terrifying saintly aura shook the entire sky. However, this space seemed to have a special protection. Lin Chen could not directly tear space apart. 30 saint cavities, breaking 6 acupoints in a single breath. This talent is too awesome. Lin Chen subconsciously licked his lips. If he did it a few more times, wouldn't his acupoints expand? Where's Yao? Lin Chen had just broken through. When he looked around, the beauty had already left, leaving behind a lingering fragrance. He saw the space jade slip beside him. This jade slip seals a forbidden technique of the demon race. It can help you resist many natural disasters and help you sneak into the sacred prison. The method to use it has been engraved on your demonic seal. Activate the jade slip, and you can be teleported back to where you came from. If possible, find a chance to return to the human world. The sacred boundary is not a place where you should stay. Humph! Remember, no matter how many women you have, you are still my Luo Yao's man. I am your only empress. Luo Yao's light and delicate voice came out of the jade slip. Lin Chen did not know whether to laugh or cry. Can you really be so capricious just because you have the strength? You kidnapped me and beat me up and then left us like that? You left just like that, and you didn't even leave me a way to contact you. I, Lin Chen, am not a casual person. I was really taking advantage of this time. No, I'll take it back next time. Lin Chen pretended to be fierce, but he had another target in his heart. He knew that he was getting more and more pressed for time. When Luo Yao met him this time, he could vaguely feel that an unprecedented storm was brewing. With a single thought, Lin Chen opened up the system. The sudden increase in his attribute values left him dumbfounded. Heavenly Tao Attribute Pickup System version 7. 0. Host. Lin Chen. Cultivation. 3rd Heaven Sage Realm Perfection. 30 Saint Points. Advanced Essence. 37 trillion points limit power. 68 billion dragon power. Flesh Shell Awakening plus 100%. Advanced Blood Chi. 19 trillion points Advanced Spirit. 29. 7 billion points Great Mastery Saint Realm. Advanced Cultivation Soul Essence. 10. 8 billion points. Advanced Rune Energy. 4. 944 billion points. Intermediate heavenly Tao points, 8. 9 billion points. Intermediate talent points, 4. 1 billion points. Set essence, 92 million points. Blank attribute, 0 points. Strengthening points, 68. 9 billion points. Refined odd crystals, 39 pieces. Advanced elemental energy, 4. 9 billion points of fire, 4. 9 billion points of earth, 4. 9 billion points of wood, 4. 9 billion points of metal, 4. 9 billion points of water, 4. 9 billion points of lightning, 4. 9 billion points of wind, 4. 9 billion points of light, 4. 9 billion points of dark. Set column, Golden War God set, part, ultimate right arm armor, ultimate left leg armor, blueprint, ultimate right leg armor. Bloodline, status column, cultivation method column, life, awakening column. Active talent column, passive talent column, sure kill skill column, characteristic rune column, talent combination skill. Lin Shun was stunned. What's going on? After confirming his attribute values again, Lin Shen's mouth twitched a few times. His attribute values had soared by dozens of times, especially the elemental attribute. Lin Shen's attribute was at most 100 million points before, but now it was 4. 9 billion points? System prompt. For all the experts that the host encountered before, the system has automatically activated the God Stealing Omen talent to steal attribute values, stealing a large number of non-growth attribute values. All of the host's soaring growth attributes are the feedback from the dual cultivation talent. After Lin Shun recovered from his shock, an unprecedented ecstasy emerged. God Stealing Omen? No wonder. From Tao-seeking Palace to Purple Cloud King Valley, the enforcement team, Sword Realm, Een Son of Heaven, and others, he had stolen all of their attributes. All of them were at the perfect circle of the fifth heaven true, Saint Realm, and above. System, system, you're already a mature system and should learn to pick up attributes yourself. This handsome guy is very satisfied this time. System. Suddenly, Lin Shen seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed drastically as he immediately released his sacred dragon. Boom! When Lin Shen's sacred dragon appeared, it coiled in the sky, causing Lin Shen's mouth to open wide again. The Yin-Yang dragon's eyes glowed with a deep dragon's might, and its body flowed with Yin-Yang dragon aura. Its dark green dragon scales exuded an indestructible aura. Its towering dragon body was tens of thousands of feet long, and its tail was like a sword. Its brilliance was azure and resplendent, and its dragon claw was thousands of feet long. Inside the dragon's body, densely packed dragon veins intersected one another. Each vein seemed to contain mountains, rivers, sun, and moon, and had the power to swallow the stars and the sea. When Lin Shen's consciousness swept over, he was completely stunned. 10 billion dragon veins. 100 billion dragon power points. Chapter 1335. Previously, when the holy dragon was smashed into pieces by the ultimate Shadow's Claw, Lin Shen almost thought that there was nothing he could do. Coupled with the fact that he couldn't even protect himself, he thought that he would lose the holy dragon that he had cultivated for many years. But according to the system's answer, all the growth attribute points he obtained this time came from the dual cultivation talent. Didn't that mean that the blood Luo Yao fed back to him had healed the holy dragon? This dual cultivation is too fierce. Should I go find a few more female experts and sleep with them until I reach the expanded aperture realm? Lin Shen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, he was very clear. It wasn't that the dual cultivation was too fierce, but that Luo Yao was too strong. He was probably the first man in the history of a human race to sleep with the demon empress. Thinking of this, Lin Shen's heart was filled with pride. The most handsome man in the sacred boundary, sleeping with the demon empress. And it sounded so natural. System, I want to consume all the set essence attributes. 92 million points of set essence attributes have been consumed. The War God set's percentage charge has been replenished. Ultimate right arm armor charge, 7%. Ultimate right leg armor charge, 1%. Ultimate left leg armor charge, 7%. This large amount of set essence attributes allowed Lin Chun to replenish his previous consumption and soar to a higher realm. The power of the 5% charged 3-piece set of the Ares God of War is enough for me to temporarily match someone in the nascent state, or even a few levels higher. I wonder if I can shake someone in the nascent state or higher. The corner of Lin Chen's mouth curled up. This increase in strength was the fastest he had experienced since becoming saint. I wonder what's going on over there. I should go back and take a look. Lin Chun clenched the spatial jade slip and activated the demonic seal in his palm. His figure flashed and disappeared from the valley. The quiet valley returned to silence once again. A faint spatial barrier once again enveloped the place. From the outside, this place was misty and even a saint couldn't enter. Inside the broken main hall, the 3 grand elders and the palace master of Iceheart Palace didn't dare to breathe loudly, because there were too many terrifying experts gathered in this main hall. It was a level that they would never be able to reach in their entire lives. The Purple Cloud King Valley, the various sects of the Sword Domain, and the venerables of the Divine Flame Palace were all legendary figures. How could ordinary saints like them come into contact with them? That day, after Lin Chun was abducted, all the experts retreated with the news. No one dared to continue fighting. Even though Shang Guanju was imprisoned at that time, the Sword Domain was not to be trifled with. In order to stop Shang Guanju, Yin Son of Heaven had paid a huge price. Most importantly, Ultimate Shadow had also suffered an unprecedented heavy injury. If they continued to fight, it wouldn't end well for either side. However, at this moment, in the dilapidated main hall, regardless of whether it was the Violet Cloud King Valley, the various sects of the Sword Region, or the Honorable Shang Guanju, none of them had a good expression on their faces. If they were not gloomy, their faces were as heavy as water, or if they were burning with anxiety, there was an unconcealable worry on their faces. How could he not be worried? That brat had been captured by the Demonkin Empress. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Bang! Shang Guanju, whose beautiful face was filled with unwillingness and anger, smashed a table and chair with a slap. Why? Why is the result still like this even after I came? How good would it be if a sage king came? Why did it have to be this Demonkin Empress? Her first sentence almost caused everyone present to fall flat on their faces. Is this the confidence of a venerable guardian? It's too terrifying. How good would it be if a sage king came? The corners of the mouths of the Violet Cloud King Valley's people twitched. Listen, was this something a human would say? The experts of the Sword Region all smiled bitterly. The status of an honorable guardian was not inferior to any sage king. If they really fought, even a sage king might not be able to snatch Lin Chun away from her. Previously, it was all because of the strange creature, Ultimate Shadow, who had made a fool of everyone. If they fought head-on, it would be difficult for Ultimate Shadow and Yin Son of Heaven to defeat an honorable guardian. Father, he won't. Jian Qingcheng, whose cheeks were pale and much thinner, no longer had the domineering aura of being infatuated with the Sword Dao. When she was about to cry, it was very lovable. She looked just like a little girl. The hearts of the 3 elders of the Sword Region twitched. They wished they could go out and fight with the experts of the heavens. They also wanted to make their granddaughter happy. Sigh. Jian Cheng sighed. Girl, people have to learn to accept things when they can't get them. This time, it's already beyond the scope of our abilities. Don't worry. Sitting in the main hall, the relaxed little demon Empress smiled sweetly. He'll definitely be fine. As long as it's a female, who in the sacred boundary can do anything to that bad guy. I think he'll be able to get out of this crisis. Uncle, is Qingwu very confident in that Lin Chun? A handsome youth from the Purple Cloud King Valley said. Zi Qianhu clicked his tongue. Forget it. This girl was still drinking 2 nights ago. It's not like you don't know her personality. She rarely touches alcohol. The last time she touched alcohol was when her mother left the Purple Cloud King Valley. She doesn't feel good in her heart. Don't provoke her. 7 days and 7 nights had passed since Lin Shun was kidnapped. During this period of time, many experts who were worried about Lin Shun felt like years. Just as the Purple Cloud King Valley was about to leave due to important matters, a youth's light laughter broke the oppressive silence. Why is everyone here? Did those guys retreat? I was planning to use them to test out my new move. Dressed in a silver robe, the youth walked into the main hall with a smile on his face. Everyone was stunned. Jian Qingsheng covered her red lips with her hand as hot tears flowed out of her eyes. The little demon empress clenched her teeth as the hidden worry in her eyes disappeared. Lin Shen, he didn't die. Everyone was ecstatic, but when they saw Lin Shen's appearance, they were all stunned. That's right, he was even more handsome than before. But that was not the problem. His entire body and face, and even his neck, ears, forehead, palms, and the back of his hands were all covered in bright red and beautiful teeth marks. They were all bitten by Luo Yao. What was going on? Everyone was even more shocked. Shang Guanju, who had always been calm and collected, seemed to have thought of certain possibility as she once again revealed a shocked expression. She looked at Lin Shan again and again, and finally spoke with a shocked and trembling voice. You slept with her? Many experts felt their scalps explode. Slept with her? Wait, Lin Shan slept with her. The experts of the various sects of mighty heavenly sword region sucked in a breath of cold air. That woman was most likely the devil empress who broke into the sacred prison and swept away all the gods with a single blade. Such a heaven-defying existence. What kind of person could move her? Or rather, there was a possibility that she could be moved? She could have interacted with a human youth? The amount of information was too much, and the experts of various sects were still a little dazed. Lin Shan scratched his head and revealed an awkward but polite smile. Well, to be precise, she slept with me. The people of Purple Cloud King Valley almost suspected that they had heard wrongly. Even Shang Guanju didn't care about her image as her eyes widened and her red lips parted slightly. Oh my God, she slept with you? Marshal Lin suddenly felt that he had lost his dignity when he saw everyone's expressions, so he said in a serious tone. Yes, although I suffered a bit this time, I will definitely earn it back next time. Next time, try to let me sleep with her. Everyone, you still want to F Asterisk King next time? Chapter 1336. Zitianhu sighed and shook his head. He silently gave Lin Chen 2 thumbs up. This young man is too awesome, Jian Cheng said solemnly. From a certain perspective, he's done something that all the past sword gods of our sword domain and all the men in the saints' world have failed to do. The 3 old men kicked him in unison. Now isn't the time to admire this kid. Qing Cheng ran out. What's there to admire? Do you believe that I won't kill you when I get back? Jiansheng finally realized that Jian Qingsheng had run out of the main hall. Lin Shen wanted to stop him, but Shang Guanjue came to him and grabbed his clothes. She was about to question him when she suddenly said, your strength. Shang Guanjue was shocked. You have reached the complete 3rd heaven true saint realm? No, it's not that simple. It had only been a few days. How did this kid's cultivation soar so quickly? Other than his cultivation, Shang Guanjue also realized that Lin Chen's physical body and spiritual power had undergone a shocking transformation. Although his spiritual power hadn't reached the great accomplishment stage, it was almost twice as strong as before. He was neither servile nor overbearing when he looked at her. More importantly, his saint force had become more condensed than an ordinary complete 4th heaven true saint realm expert. Once this kid expands his acupoints, he will probably be able to reach the top 5,000 or even the top 3,000 on the Demon Genius list. Could it be because of the Empress? How terrifying! Shang Guanju sighed and suddenly asked seriously, Little guy, tell me honestly, what's your relationship with that woman? Now, more than half of the 9th-ranked sects in the 36 regions of the Holy World are paying attention to this place. In a few days, there will be experts coming. If you don't explain your relationship with her, even my Godflame Palace won't be able to protect you. That's right, the crisis wasn't over yet. If Lin Shun made a wrong move, his life would still be in danger. The Empress of the demon race's actions would affect the situation as a whole. If the experts of the various Rank 9 sects were to come out, or if the upper echelons of the Rank 9 sects were to arrive, they would forcefully suppress Lin Shun. Her Divine Flame Palace could not fend off all the 9th grade sects by herself. What level was a 9th rank sect? For example, if an 8th rank sect could be considered the pinnacle of the sacred boundary, then a 9th rank sect would be the origin of the sacred boundary's history and civilization. A powerhouse from a rank 9 sect could easily annihilate any rank 7 or rank 8 sect. The current Monster Genius list was a system formed by 10 top 8th grade sects and dozens of 8th grade forces. It had already crushed most of the forces in the sacred boundary. It could grant monstrous geniuses supreme authority and allow them to run amok in various regions. As for rank 9 sects, it was simply impossible for them to exist. In the history of the sacred boundary, there were no records of rank 9 sects appearing in the world. They would not ask about the mundane affairs of the sacred boundary. They had their own circles and independent realms. Mortals had no right to pry into them. The highest realm in the sacred boundary was the Sky Sacred Realm. As for the top 3,000 on the Genius ranking and the Saint Talent ranking, most of them were in the Heavenly Saint region. However, the situation this time was extremely different. A powerhouse from a rank 9 sect would definitely appear. It was impossible for them not to ask about the demonic empress. The only way was to ask about the relationship between Lin Shun and the demonic empress. Secondly, they could use him to dig out information about the demonic empress. Even if it was just a bit of useful information, it would increase the chances of the rank 9 sect letting him go. Who is she to me? Lin Shun's expression suddenly became serious. He said calmly, "She is my woman. Senior, you don't have to ask. I have my own way to deal with it." "Deal with my ass." Shang Wanju directly interrupted Lin Shun. "Do you know what you are about to face? Deal with it. Tell me honestly." Boom! As the space shook, the crack in the sky above the mystic realm began to slowly heal. The space of the mystic realm, which had been destroyed by the demonic empress anger, began to recover. It only took a few breaths. Shang Wanju's expression suddenly changed. What a coincidence! Oh, is Lord Shangwan from the Divine Flame Palace here too? Did Lord Shangwan also come because of the aura from before? 3 figures appeared like ghosts and stood at the entrance of the hall. Their backs were as straight as spears, and they walked into the hall with majestic steps. One of them was wearing a green robe, and his hands were empty. His eyes seemed to have galaxies revolving around them, emitting starlight that had died hundreds of millions of years ago. One of them was an old man with a pleasant expression. It was as if he always had a gentle smile and squinted eyes. Occasionally, when he opened his eyes, divine lightning would flash. The last one was a young man with an awe-inspiring aura. He carried a green sword on his back. Green light surged, stirring up the wind and clouds above the 9 heavens, faintly stirring up heaven and earth. What was strange was that when the elders of the Ice Heart Palace looked at these 3 people, they couldn't feel the slightest fluctuation of Saint Chi or aura. It was as if they didn't exist in that space, but they were standing there. They had never seen such a strange phenomenon. Only the people from Sword Domain and Purple Cloud King Valley were cautious and serious. After Lin Chen's strength increased, his perception had skyrocketed. He vaguely felt that the forces of these 3 people were stronger than Yin Sun of Heaven and Ultimate Shadow, but weaker than Shang Wanju. People from Sword Domain and Purple Cloud King Valley. The kind old man with squinted eyes looked around. The representatives of Sword Domain and Purple Cloud King Valley cupped their fists and bowed. The old man waved his hand. He looked at Lin Shan with a smile. "Ha ha, little friend, you're the one who came in contact with that person. May I ask, are you a human, or—" The old man's face instantly turned cold. "Or a demon?" The green-robed man narrowed his eyes. "Boy, think carefully before you answer. What do you know? What have you experienced in the past few days? Tell us everything. This matter concerns the human race of the sacred boundary." If you dare to lie, your head will fall to the ground in an instant. However, Lin Chen's reaction was beyond the expectations of these three masters. It's none of your business. Lin Chen smiled gently, but his words were sweet. Betraying Luo Yaoa? Absolutely not. Even if he had to fight to the death, Lin Chen wouldn't back down. Another powerhouse who looked like a young swordsman sneered. Oh, you're young and impetuous. You're full of that despicable and disgusting aura. Your bones are a bit hard, so I'll cut them off first. Clang! He used his finger as a sword and pointed it out. The tip of his finger turned into a beam of light that pierced through the void. He was very measured in his attack and controlled the power to the extent that it could only cripple Lin Chen. Bang! Shangguan Ju's slender hand crushed the beam of light, and half of her body blocked in front of Lin Chen. The higher-ups sent you? Don't you feel ashamed to deal with a young man like this? The three of them didn't change their expressions. The old man said indifferently, "From what the supremacy means, you want to protect him? Does the Divine Flame Palace want to experience the destruction of the previous battle again?" Boom! The sky changed color. Shangguan Ju's calm and beautiful face hid a crazy, killing intent. Haha, it's true that you can fight the three of us, but it's not realistic to completely protect him. The three of them moved and rushed toward Shangguan Ju. The three powerhouses of the human race directly fought. Chapter 1337. Lights and shadows flashed in the main hall, dazzling the eyes. Just as the Ice Heart Palace's people were about to retreat in shock, the aura of the Four's battle did not spread out. All the sages in the main hall felt a series of flashes of holy light, but they could not see the specific movements. Great Space Shift. This is a battle method unique to peak sages. They can shift part of their space to an independent plane, and the aftermath of the battle will not hurt the flowers or grass around them. The three elders of the Sword Realm looked extremely serious. To use this battle method, one had to be at least a ninth heaven sage. When the three of them were suppressed by Shangguan Ju, whoosh, a gust of wind rushed behind Lin Chen. It was the mental avatar of the swordsman in green. Even though it was just a casual mental avatar, its strength was at the level of the three elders of the Sword Realm. The avatar stretched out its hand and wanted to grab. Rumble. Demonic talismans exploded behind Lin Chen's back like flowers falling from the sky. A domineering aura bloomed, and it looked down on the sacred boundary. A near-invincible intent stunned the mental avatar on the spot. This aura, it can't be wrong. It's that woman. The mental avatar in green was shocked and retreated at lightning speed. Lin Chen's war god bracers were ready to attack, but he realized that his opponent was retreating. Brat, what's your relationship with that person? The mental avatar in green scolded sternly. Before Lin Chen could answer, the demonic intent behind him condensed into an ancient talisman. If his life is in danger, the entire clan will be destroyed, Demonic Empress. The monstrous words caused the expressions of all the experts present to change. The three of them stopped fighting for a short time. Looking at the demonic talismans in the air, the peerless experts from Rank 9 sects revealed a rare look of fear. Does this brat really have some kind of relationship with the Empress? Speaking of which, it's ridiculous that he could sleep with the Empress. Shangguan Ju's beautiful eyes were filled with shock, but she did not know whether it was a blessing or a curse. After a long while, the young swordsman took a deep look at Lin Chen. His eyes were filled with uncertainty. Inform the others that there's no need to rush over. You can't force this kid. As soon as he said this, everyone from Sword Domain was shocked. The Demonkin Empress was indeed terrifying. With just one sentence, the 9th rank sect was stunned, completely protecting Lin Chen. Lin Chen had a surprised look on his face. He had never thought that Luo Yao would actually leave such a mark on him. The three of them stared at Lin Chen. The Demonkin Empress might not be able to overturn the entire human sacred boundary, but if she wanted to retaliate against a 9th rank sect, she would definitely be the absolute nightmare of any sect. By chance, They had witnessed the might of the Empress' demonic saber from an extremely distant plane. If they were to face such an existence, the other party wouldn't even need to attack. The demonic saber could easily devour them. Right now, it was a special period. The true decision-makers had yet to return, and it was not their turn to make decisions. There was no way they could afford to offend such a powerful existence. The student has surpassed the master. When the amiable old man realized that he couldn't take down Lin Shun, he couldn't help but sigh. His face returned to its usual calmness, but there was a hint of regret in his eyes. Why not capturing him? Shang Guanjue's eyes were full of ridicule. Look at your cowardly faces. I wonder how you cultivated to this level. Just hearing a name and you're like tigers turning into sick cats? The three of them were so angry that their faces turned gloomy. Shang Guanjue said this with full confidence. When she faced Luo Yao, at least she didn't retreat. With this courage, the three of them couldn't get close to her. Kid, you're on your own. When the great creator comes into being, not only will this not be your amulet, but it will also be your death. The green-robed man sneered. The three of them disappeared from the void. They came in strange ways and left without a trace. As Lin Shun watched the three of them leave, he secretly made up his mind. Now, you're the one protecting me. In the future, there will be a time when I protect you. Yao, watching the three of them leave, the three elders of Sword Domain looked at each other and sighed. Our Qing Chang has really taken a fancy to an amazing kid. The Empress of the Demon Race is protecting him. But as the three of them said, the group of existences in the sacred boundary hasn't returned yet. If they return to the sacred boundary, I'm afraid this kid won't have an easy time, unless the Empress comes again. The three elders of Sword Domain exchanged glances. Shang Guanjue looked carefree and indifferent. She patted Lin Chen's shoulder and sighed. Kid, seize the time to become stronger. I may not be able to protect you by Ruoyan for long. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. What's going on? Shang Guanjue looked serious. The Xinyan Palace is going to change. The Palace Master is about to change, and a new era is beginning. The Xinyan Palace, which has always been dominated by female disciples, may have a great change. Bailan may become the next Palace Master, or she may be the wife of the next Palace Master. The situation can't be explained in a few words. You have to use your fastest speed to reach the top 1,000 of the Demon Race list, and then come to the Xinyan Palace to propose marriage. As for the rest, I'll try my best to help you. Lin Chen's heart sank. This change came so suddenly. This time, Shang Guanjue had personally come to block the strong enemy for him. This favor was so great that Lin Chen couldn't vent his anger, even if he wanted to. As if seeing through his thoughts, Shang Guanjue sighed. Don't worry. With me here, Ruoyan will be fine for a short time. You have to be careful. The sacred boundary is vast, and far more than the experts you saw today. Since you're fine, I should go back. Remember, don't come to the Xinyan Palace unless you are in the top 1,000 of the Demon Race list. After leaving behind this advice, Shang Guanjue stepped into the air like an immortal and disappeared in an instant. Lin Chen's heart was complicated. When he turned to look at the people in the hall, he first cupped his hands towards the people of Purple Cloud King Valley. Just as words of gratitude were about to come out of his mouth, the little demon empress crossed her arms. Her charming and beautiful face was full of smiles. She stood in front of him and smiled sweetly. Don't say such polite words. Aren't you annoying? Why don't you go chase after your little sister Qingcheng? She ran away in anger. Lin Shen looked at the people of Sword Region, and Jiancheng immediately gave him a look. Then, I'll go first. Lin Shun smiled helplessly, turned around, and rushed out of the hall. Looking at the direction Lin Chen left, Zi Tianhu walked to the side of the little demon empress and said seriously, Is this really okay? This is enough. The little demon empress was still smiling as usual. He just needs to be himself. Zi Tianhu sighed. It's because of your mother, right? She's preparing to come back. Also, I heard that she wants to betroth you to Heavenly Sanctuary. The little demon empress smile did not change, but there was a hint of helplessness in it. In the broken mountain range at the edge of a cliff, a beauty hugged her jade legs with both hands and curled up her body. She was thin and thin. Suddenly, half of a youth's face popped out from the edge of the cliff, about 30 meters away from her. When she was slightly stunned, the youth shamelessly called out, "Qingcheng, beauty of a city? Treasure of a city? Little sister Qingcheng, have you thought it through? It's okay if you haven't. I have." Jian Qingcheng was angry and amused at the same time. Looking at the bright red teeth marks on the youth's cheeks that were like crescent moons, he couldn't help but get angry. He quickly walked over and stomped on the youth's face. "You dead man. To think that I was so worried about you. You actually did that kind of thing. Mommy, why did you stomp on my face? I didn't want to either. I can't beat her. At most, I'll suffer a little and let you reenact it. Reenact your head. This miss will chop you in half." Chapter 1338. At the edge of the cliff, Jian Qingqing punched and kicked Lin Chen. Lin Chen didn't fight back, but he scolded back. In the end, Jian Qingcheng sobbed in Lin Chen's arms. Recalling Jian Qingqing's appearance when they first met, Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. Sigh, being too handsome is really annoying. It's the hardest thing to accept a beauty's favor. In all fairness, he thought that he and Jian Qingcheng were just friends. The two of them even had a big battle before. As the saying goes, no discord, no concord. But this time, she used the power of her entire family for him, and even exposed the experts of sword domain to danger. This favor could not be said to be small. "Will you come to sword domain in the future?" Jian Qingcheng leaned close to his chest and asked softly. Lin Chen smiled and said, "Of course I will." Jian Qingqing's delicate body trembled slightly, as if she had gotten the answer she wanted, and softly said, "In." She was exceptionally smart, and didn't ask Lin Chen too much about other women. She just quietly lay in his arms for a while. When Jian Cheng saw that his daughter had returned and regained her usual vigor, he beamed with joy. As for the three old men, they sized up Lin Chen with satisfaction. To be honest, they were very satisfied with the ability of this grandson-in-law. His background and achievements. Any one of them could be placed at the top of sword domain. The people of Purple Cloud King Valley stood up, and Lin Shan was surprised. "Everyone, are you leaving so soon?" Zi Tianhu smiled and said, "Yes, our Purple Cloud King Valley has important matters to attend to. Little guy, if you come to the southern region in the future, you are welcome to visit King Valley." Important matters? Lin Shan saw that the people of King Valley all had serious expressions, and even the little demon empress was gone. He couldn't help but ask seriously, "What is the matter? Can this junior help?" Zi Tianhu shook his head and stared deeply at Lin Shan, and secretly sent a sound transmission. Qingwu, this girl, followed her mother's surname. Her mother came from an 8th grade force, and now her mother may use this girl to restore the glory of her family. Little guy, if there is a chance in the future, I hope you can help this girl. Lin Chen's eyes focused, and he cupped his fist seriously. "It's my duty." Glancing at Lin Shan with gratification, Zi Tianhu waved his hand and tore open space, leading everyone away. Inside the hall, only the sword saints from Sword Realm and the people from Iceheart Palace remained. The three elders of the sword region appeared beside Lin Chun like ghosts. With a wave of their hands, a spatial enchantment opened. Only the three elders, Jian Cheng and Lin Chun, could hear their conversation. "Brat, although you're very outstanding, my Qingcheng isn't bad as well. If she marries you in the future, you must not let her suffer any grievances." The sword emanation's old man said in a neutral tone. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. Things were not even set in stone yet. Although his granddaughter was far from being able to compare to this kid, at the very least, he didn't want his granddaughter to be wronged by this kid. "I heard that you're proficient in sword arts as well. Our sword region has always been known for the way of the sword. This is one of our sword region's 10 great ancient sword sects sword arts, the Trillion Stars art. Keep it well. Remember, if you come to our sword region in the future, don't embarrass us." Elder Jin's face was stern as he handed over a scroll that glowed with an orange light. When Lin Chun received it, his expression changed slightly. It was a complete orange tier, mid-grade, peerless sword art. Lin Chen's 9-layer Burning Heavens palm still needed to be cultivated to the 9th layer before he could unleash the power of a mid-grade orange tier sword art. This kind of cultivation technique was too valuable. Senior, this gift, what? You don't like it? Even if you don't like it, you have to take it from me. This is the dowry that my Qing Chung prepared for you in advance. If you don't cultivate it well, I will be the first to not let you off. Elder Jin said fiercely. Lin Chen had no choice but to accept it. The people of the Sword region all had strange tempers. Elder Jianming, who was the strongest among them, said solemnly, "Brat, what do you plan to do next? Why don't you come to our Sword region to lie low for a while?" Lin Chen had caused so much trouble. If he didn't find a place to lie low and cultivate for a while, he would be standing at the center of the storm and would be in great danger. Retreating is not something a man should do. I plan to make a trip to the Saint Prison. Lin Chen didn't say much, but the moment he spoke, his words were shocking. The 3 elders were shocked. Go to the Saint Prison? That was one of the most terrifying places in the sacred boundary. Even these 3 powerful elders couldn't avoid it. Yet, this brat wanted to go to the Saint Prison? The way an expert does things is unfathomable. There are indeed talents in every generation. Each generation is fiercer than the previous one. Jian Qing shook his head and sighed. Elder Jianming said seriously, "Are you planning to sneak in?" "Yes, I have a way to sneak in. Inside the Saint Prison, I need to find a person. This person is very useful to me." Lin Chen looked straight at the 3 elders and said the name. His name is Jian Wuji. Rumor has it that he is a sword saint from the Sword region. I wonder if the 3 elders know of him? Lin Chen didn't hide anything. The 3 elders had even passed on their complete orange tier, mid-grade cultivation techniques to him. This meant that the people from the Sword region already treated Lin Chen as one of their own. Jian Wuji was the name of the Heavenly Song Academy's dean's friend. Lin Chen only knew that this person was from the Sword region. With the 3 elders' status, they might know something. That person might have the whereabouts of the 4th part of the Tai Futian technique. Now that Lin Chen was surrounded by enemies, the fastest way to increase his strength was to obtain the mental cultivation technique. If he could obtain the complete Tai Futian technique and use the enhanced function to strengthen the mental cultivation technique, his battle strength would soar to an unprecedented level. At that time, once he expanded his acupoints, he would be able to shake the world. Hearing the name Jian Wuji, the 3 elders were stunned. The Sword Emanation's elder didn't understand and asked, "Why are you looking for this madman?" Lin Chen said, I have an important matter to discuss with him." Do the 3 elders have any news? The 3 elders looked at each other, and Jian Chang said, "This person is a peerless genius from the Sword region. However, he is also a madman. In his early years, he killed the entire family of an expert. The other party had once exterminated his entire family, and he returned the favor. After exterminating the entire family, he even challenged an 8th-grade sex Saint Heart Realm expert. In the end, he was convicted and imprisoned." Saint Heart Realm? Lin Chen was curious. "May I ask, what is the realm above the Star Realm?" Jian Cheng said patiently, "The Saint Acupoint Expansion Realm and the Transformation Realm are only the foundation. After the Life and Death Realm, every time a Saint Acupoint is opened, there will be earth-shattering changes. The 6th stage is the Life and Death Realm. The 7th stage is the Star Realm. And the 8th stage is the Saint Heart Realm. In the 8th stage of the Saint Realm, the Saint Heart Realm is the 71st to 80th Saint Acupoints. These 10 Saint Acupoints are extremely difficult to open. One has to use the Saint Acupoint's Saint Force to condense one's life force to break through the Acupoints. Every time one breaks through the realm, it means that one has to break through the limits of one's life force. If one fails, one will be severely injured and their Saint Acupoints will be damaged for 100 years to recover. If one fails, one will lose one's life. Every time one fails to break through the realm, it will consume a great amount of the saint's lifespan. The three elders sighed when they talked about this matter. Who knew how many peerless geniuses and monstrous geniuses were blocked in front of the Saint Heart realm, forever stuck in the star realm? That was a whole new world. Chapter 1339. Jianqing's expression was extremely serious. Once a Saint Heart enters this realm, it's extremely difficult for a saint to fall. Even if the Saint Heart is pierced, the saint will be seriously injured. Unless their head and spiritual origin are shattered, or their Saint Heart is completely destroyed, there is no trace of destruction left. Otherwise, even if you kill the opponent 1,000 times, they will come back again. Lin Shen was shocked. Even if the heart was pierced, they wouldn't die. To completely destroy the spiritual origin or the Saint Heart in the body. No wonder the three ghost saints were so tenacious and could survive after the three of them merged. Lin Shen vaguely guessed that the three ghost saints were powerhouses at the Saint Heart realm. Lin Shen continued to ask, what about above the Saint Heart realm? Jian Cheng stretched out a finger and said seriously, above the Saint Heart realm, the 81st to 90th saint points are called the Heaven Opening Realm. The Saint Force Heaven Opening Realm is the peak since ancient times. In this realm, the Saint Force will be cultivated to the extreme, and the Saint Points will be developed to the extreme. In terms of cultivation, there will be no change. Above the Heaven Opening Realm is the 9th Revolution Heaven Opening Realm, and people call them 9th Revolution Saints. The 91st to 99th Saint Points to be opened in the 9th Revolution Saint Points are all in the brain. Every open Saint Point can condense all the Saint Force into the brain, greatly increasing the Saint's comprehension and comprehension. This doesn't sound like a substantial transformation, but it's the most terrifying gap in the Saint realm. Elder Jianming continued. In theory, the 9th Revolution Saint realm is the realm where it's the least possible to challenge someone of a higher realm. A First Revolution Saint's comprehension of heaven and earth far surpasses that of a 9th Revolution Saint. A 9th Revolution Saint can use 100 ways to attack, but a First Revolution Saint can use 1,000 ways to deal with it. At this realm, it's not just the cultivation of the Saint Points that are competing, but the comprehension of heaven and earth and the development of one's own potential. Why is it that a 9th Revolution Saint, who is so great and above countless levels of mortals, can't create an orange-level technique? Because only First Revolution Saints and above are qualified to create a true orange-level technique. Only powerhouses who enter that realm can see the world and the essence of heaven and earth clearly. Lin Shen was shocked, and he kept remembering the realms after that. Star Realm, Saint Heart Realm, Heaven Opening Realm, 9th Revolution Heaven Opening Realm. It seemed that he still had a long way to go. With his current strength, if he did not have the War God 3-piece set, any random life and death realm sword saint from sword domain could make him fall into a disadvantageous position in all aspects. The 100th Saint Cavern. Jian Cheng pointed at the space between his eyebrows. Here, once you open 100 saint points, you will reach the peak of the saint realm. The King of Saints is also known as the Saint King realm. I know very little about this realm. Old man Jian Ming continued. If you want to find Jian Wuji, I heard that guy is locked up in the 5th level of the Holy Prison. You can go there and look for him. If you really have a way to enter, then bring him back. After all, this person has quite a deep relationship with us. Although our sword region can't publicly announce his existence, we can secretly return many favors. This old man heard that once one is imprisoned in the sacred boundary, one will have to face the endless devil race below. If one can kill a certain number of devil race members, they may even be pardoned. Little guy, you must be careful. The people inside are all experts among experts from all over the sacred boundary. Lin Chen nodded. Many thank for the information, seniors. After asking the four some more difficult questions, old man Jianming removed the spatial barrier. Everyone, we should return to Sword Region. Jiansheng waved his hand at the Sword Saints and smiled. Jian Qingsheng reluctantly looked at Lin Shun and left with the rest of the group. Little guy, you're welcome to Sword Region at any time. Hee hee, if there's a chance, you must show us your alchemy skills. The next time you fight, you can use the price of alchemy to exchange for it. We'll be at your beck and call. When the Sword Saints bid farewell, their attitude towards Lin Shun was very cordial. When Lin Shun turned to look at the people of Ice Heart Palace, they all sighed. They did not expect that these great figures, who were difficult to meet in the past, would appear again and again because of this young man. There was already a huge gap between them. Everyone, although Snow Dragon Palace's territory is almost destroyed, its foundation is still there. It won't be too difficult to rebuild it. Lin Shun looked at Fairy Scarlet, who smiled sweetly and said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of Ice Heart Palace for you. I'll protect your little fairy. You can rest assured and do what you need to do. I only have one request for you." Then, Fairy Scarlet sent a message to Lin Shun. Her voice was like an orchid, charming and enchanting. "I want you." Lin Shun was shocked. She was going to use the second dual cultivation innate skill so soon. "I want you to expand your acupoint expansion realm by more than 1,000 times. If you can do it, Lin Shun, I'll serve you as my master and form a master-servant contract. You'll become my master and get my spirit plant." Fairy Scarlet's words were so shocking that Lin Shun was almost stunned. Expanding his acupoint expansion realm by more than 1,000 times? What was even weirder and more shocking was the second half of the sentence. Serve him as her master? Fairy Scarlet's cultivation and strength were not weak, even in many ancient sections. She belonged to the upper echelons of power. Why would such a woman serve him as her master? Could it be that this is the reason why she helped me before? Lin Shun took a deep look at Fairy Scarlet and said with a smile, "Then it's a deal. As long as she was willing to temporarily take care of Ice Heart Palace for him, whether or not he could expand his acupoint expansion realm by more than 1,000 times, he would definitely not lose out." After explaining a few things to everyone, Lin Shun immediately set off for Green Territory. It would take a long time to find Six-Fingered Xian Yuan to forge a top sacred artifact. Whether or not he could invite him was still unknown. Lin Shun planned to put this matter aside later and enter Holy Prison to find Zhao Wuji first. The news of the cultivation method could not be delayed. The 3 pieces of War God set and his heaven-defying avatar were his biggest trump cards for this trip. The Eye of the Hurricane in the Green Domain hid the entrance to the Saint Prison. Lin Shun summoned the Divine Dragon and rushed there at full speed. This time he acted alone. In the Void Passage, the Divine Dragon carried Lin Shun and quickly swept through space. Lin Shun activated the demonic seal in his palm. Waves of murderous demonic chi rose and began to fill every corner of his body and meridians. After a while, Lin Shun's appearance changed greatly. For horns grew out of his head. His face was evil and demonic. His bloodjade-like pupils were filled with violent, murderous intent. He was 10 meters tall and covered in scales. At this moment, Lin Shun was like a demon through and through. If he appeared in the outside world, he would definitely be regarded as a Saint Demon King and be besieged by sages. The Demon King reincarnation technique that Yao taught me is really vivid. As long as I don't use Saint Force in battle, the possibility of being exposed is very small. If I use the Sky Concealing Sky technique to seal my acupoints, it will be a flawless disguise. It will be very useful for me to sneak in a holy prison this time. Lin Shun, who had turned into a Demon King, smiled evilly. A perfect disguise. No one will know that it's me. The most handsome star of the Sacred Boundaries Black Horse Club is temporarily resting. The most ferocious Demon King of Guangshui City is online. This time, I'll go to Holy Prison and make a scene. Chapter 1340. Lin Shun deactivated the Demon King reincarnation technique and returned to his normal state. To enter the Eye of the Hurricane in the Green region, one had to open a high-level secret realm, the Wood Sea Sky Green Secret Realm. This secret realm could only be opened by 6th grade sects or those on the Monster Genius list. As long as Lin Shan was in the sacred boundary, he could not easily transform into the Demon King. Otherwise, he would not be able to open the secret realm. He could only hide his identity after entering the sacred prison. Lin Shan opened the system and issued an order. System, I want to activate the second stage of Flesh Shell Awakening and the second stage of Mind Awakening. Activating the second stage of Flesh Shell Awakening and the second stage of Mind Awakening. Consume 2 billion Intermediate Heavens Path Points. Host can now awaken a higher level of Flesh Shell Awakening. Lin Shan's body suddenly became much lighter, as if he had been released from some shackles. His blood was as majestic as the mountain sea prison. A single drop of his blood could burn the mountains and boil the seas. I want to fully awaken the second stage of Flesh Shell Awakening. Consumed 5 billion Heavens Path Points. Beginning Flesh Shell Awakening. Flesh Shell Awakening, 101%. Beginning Mind Awakening. Complete second stage of Mind Awakening. Instant Mind Awakening speed increased by 30 times, 31 times. Mind power has a certain self-healing ability. Previously, after stealing a large number of Powerhouse's attribute points, Lin Shan had activated 2 stages of awakening. His 8 billion Heavens Path Points were instantly reduced to 1 billion Heavens Path Points. System, learn Billion Starlight. Consumed 4 billion Advanced Cultivation Technique Soul Essences. Beginning to integrate Intermediate Orange Cultivation Technique Billion Starlight. Lin Shan's true body had awakened, and his doppelganger had fused with his cultivation memories. Ever since Lin Shan had left for the Green Domain, he had not stopped growing stronger. Lin Shan's body refinement realm was at 34 billion Dragon Power Points. When he completed the second stage of Flesh Shell Awakening, his pure strength had increased by 200% and exceeded 100 billion Dragon Power Points. It was on par with his Saint Dragon. His mind power was close to the complete Saint Rudiment realm. His mind perception and mental reaction were even more terrifying than a complete Saint Rudiment realm expert. When he completed the second stage of Mind Awakening, his mental awakening speed had increased by 50 times. Currently, Lin Shan's alchemy skills had improved by leaps and bounds. In addition to his 30 Saint points, he could unleash a killing power of 40 billion Dragon Power Points with just his Saint force. If combined with his many skills, talents, and runes, Lin Shan's strength could be said to be invincible under the Cavern Expansion realm. Even geniuses on the monster ranking who had expanded their acupoints 10 times could rarely fight him head-on. Just the pure strength of 100 billion Dragon Force points is enough to deal with most mid-fifth Heaven True Saints. Lin Shan's gaze revealed a strong self-confidence. Below the 6th layer of the Saint realm, there was no one who could threaten Lin Shan anymore. Even if it was a peerless genius nurtured by a rank 7 or even rank 8 sect, it was still impossible. Once the 6 doppelgangers appeared, even if they attacked together, they would still be able to beat the opponent into a pulp. Whoosh! With the holy dragon breaking through the sky, Lin Shan arrived at the void above the northern part of the Green Domain. Not far away, the city walls were cast high, hundreds of feet tall. The simple and unadorned wall was like a pitch-black giant beast, crushing everything in its path. This is the Green Brilliant City. That's the entrance to the Wood Sea's Azure Secret Territory. Lin Shan's gaze swept past the spiritual light and looked through the void. Millions of miles away, there was a powerful spatial enchantment blocking the way. This was a spatial enchantment set up by a major auction house. Even a Nashing cultivator might not be able to break it. The Wood Sea's Azure Secret Territory contained countless rare treasures, and it meant that there were endless opportunities. It was also the territory of ancient and ferocious beasts and terrifying energy storms. Without the authority of a rank 6 sect, one wouldn't have the qualifications to enter. This was the difficulty of ascending the sacred boundary. Most of the resources would be occupied by powerful forces. Without a strong background and foundation, it would be difficult to nurture a true expert. Lin Shan kept the holy dragon back into his body, paid the entrance fee, and entered the green, brilliant city directly. 1 hour later, Lin Shun arrived at the entrance of the secret territory. At this time, the square at the entrance of the secret territory was in a mess. Why can't we enter? We also paid the entrance fee and registered for the right to use the secret territory. We're also a rank 6 sect. Do you think the Nangong family can cover the sky with one hand? Don't make me angry. Believe it or not, I'll make you kneel on the ground and beg me not to kill you in less than 15 minutes. In the green jade square, groups of young talents were floating in the air. They were extraordinary, and each of them was like a dragon or phoenix among men. Their auras were superior, and they were like peerless geniuses who were born noble. However, at this time, they were fiercely arguing with the gatekeepers outside the square, and they even had the intention to fight. That's enough. Stop arguing. Young Master Nangong Ju has personally instructed that an auspicious beast has been born in the Wood Sea's Azure Secret Territory, and the secret territory has been completely sealed. It won't be opened until Nangong Ju captures the auspicious beast. All of you get lost. Don't think that you can do anything just because you're on the genius list. The leading sage, who had a scar on his face, sneered and waved his hand. Go back to your sex and stay there. Go back to where you came from. The faces of the geniuses changed slightly. An auspicious beast has been born? Could it be that an auspicious beast can only be born from a rank 7 bloodline high-level sacred beast? Nangong Ju? Is he the one on the genius list? But even if he's on the genius list, he can't be so domineering. This is a high-level secret territory. How can a high-level secret territory be sealed because of personal reasons? Some of the geniuses protested unwillingly. The scar-faced man smiled sinisterly. So what if it's personal reasons? Our young master has expanded his acupoints 25 to 29 times. He's extremely talented and has already joined the rank 7 sect, the Nine Heavens Sacred Dragon Palace. He has become a true prodigy. How can ordinary geniuses like you compare to him? If you don't know what's good for you, get lost. I'm going to make a move. If it weren't for the fact that you're disciples of a rank 6 sect, I would have already made a move. A bunch of shameless brats. The geniuses unconsciously took a step back, and their faces were filled with shock. Rank 7 sect. Nangong Ju is actually a true disciple of the Nine Heavens Sacred Dragon Palace? Oh my God, a rank 6 family background and a rank 7 sect backing him. No wonder the Nangong family is so arrogant. The faces of the geniuses turned pale, and they finally gave up their last hope. The difference between the ranks of the sects was even more terrifying. The difference between the 7th rank and the 6th rank was even more frightening. Just as the geniuses were about to leave, a ray of glazed holy light shot up into the sky, and it didn't disperse, and a terrifying pressure descended. Everyone in the green jade square was shocked. A genius list token, a prodigy from the genius list, had arrived. The scar-faced man's face turned slightly solemn. Everyone focused their eyes and saw a silver-robed figure appear silently in the square. He was tall and handsome, and his aura was otherworldly. He had a frivolous smile on his face. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, his steps were slow and steady. The geniuses immediately made way for him, and their faces were filled with respect and admiration. Many young and beautiful female prodigies couldn't help but have peach blossoms in their eyes. This young man was like a man from a painting. Chapter 1341. Before Lin Shun entered Qingyao City, he had observed the spatial enchantment of the mystic realm. It would not work if he tried to force his way in. At the very least, he would have to use the power of the Aries set to break the enchantment. There was no need to use his trump card for such a small matter. Lin Chen planned to pass the enchantment head-on. Above Lin Chen's head, the glazed light of the demon genius list shone brilliantly. His aura was restrained and steady. He walked in front of the scar-faced man and said indifferently, "Monster ranking, Lin Shun, request to open the Mahai Tianqing mystic realm." Lin Chen's tone was not a discussion, but a direct order. This was the right of the monster ranking. Compared to the other monsters, Lin Chen's tone was polite. My friend, the Mahai Tianqing mystic realm is managed by the Nangong family. It is jointly controlled by the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon Palace and other grade 7 forces. The young master of the Nangong family is... The scar-faced man was about to stand up when Lin Shun placed his hand on his shoulder. Rumble. The terrifying power was like a landslide and a tsunami, overturning heaven and earth. In an instant, Lin Chen's palm exploded with a boundless force that suppressed the scar-faced man. He could not use his saint power at all. His face was full of shock. He was an enlarged acupoint cultivator. How could he be suppressed by this kid with one hand? The genius's eyes widened. The scar-faced man's strength was only second to some of the outer elders. But now, he was suppressed by this genius on the monster ranking with one hand? Even the average genius on the monster ranking could not have this kind of strength. I'm not talking to you. You can't make the decision. Lin Shin smiled, mesmerizing many women. His gaze turned and looked at a drunk old man who was drinking wine at the side. Lin Shin said calmly, "Old man, what do you think?" The old man gulped down a mouthful of strong liquor, and his eyes, which had always been lifeless, suddenly flashed with a bright light. He chuckled and said, "Where did this little demon come from? You have some eyesight." The old man stretched lazily, and when he stood up, for Saint Wheels appeared above his head with a whoosh. With the support of Saint Might, he instantly became transcendent. The geniuses immediately felt a force that could overturn the heavens and earth sweeping towards them, causing them to take a few steps back with shocked expressions. Is this old man the one in charge? What a profound cultivation. His saint energy is comparable to an elder in the fifth heaven true saint realm. While the geniuses were shocked, Lin Shin stood there unmoving. The old man narrowed his eyes. This young man wasn't simple at all. The drunk old man shook his head and said, "Young man, please don't make things difficult for this old man." The higher-ups have ordered that no one is allowed to enter this place. As soon as he finished speaking, a black light flashed. Before anyone could react, the jade pendant on the old man's waist was gone. This jade pendant is pretty exquisite. Lin Shun was all smiles as he crushed it into pieces. Boom! A surge of spatial energy spread out, causing ripples in space. The drunk old man's expression changed drastically. A young man was actually able to snatch his jade pendant without anyone noticing? What kind of terrifying monster was this? Since you can't make the decision, then let someone who can make the decision come over. It's not up to anyone to decide whether you can enter or not. It's up to you whether your fist is strong enough. Lin Shen's actions were swift and decisive. As he spoke, his domineering aura leaked out from his body. He even whistled at the group of geniuses and mocked them. Don't you think so? Am I strong enough? Young master is both handsome and strong. The geniuses shouted in unison. The drunk old man's lips twitched. Chao Sheng, what happened? Why did you use the jade pendant? This old man should have said that this pendant should only be used in an emergency. An old man with sharp eyebrows stepped through the air. Lightning seemed to flash between his brows, and he exuded an imposing aura. The drunk old man immediately cupped his fists respectfully. Greetings, Elder Nangong Yen. This old man didn't intend to use the jade pendant. This young man on the monster ranking wants to pass the mystic realm. The drunk old man's simple explanation caused the old man's expression to change slightly. When he looked at Lin Shun, he restrained his aura and said indifferently, "Young master, my Nangong family has important matters to attend to. Why don't you come to our residence to rest for 2 days?" Boom! 8 earth-shattering raging flame dragons appeared above Lin Shen's head, and they were all condensed from his mental strength. In his palm, the 9 burning heaven seal appeared, and all the fire element odd crystals bloomed with a beautiful light. Just one sentence. Can you open it or not? If you can't, I'll fight from here to your Nangong family. Lin Chen's casual words caused all the geniuses to suck in a breath of cold air. Too domineering, starting a fight at the slightest disagreement. He was facing an elder from a rank 6 family. Great completion, Saint Rudiment realm? No, it's not that simple. Nangong Yin was shocked. With his perfect rank 5 cultivation, he actually sensed a dangerous aura from the raging flame dragons. If they really fought, he might not be able to suppress this young man with his mental strength. Lin Shun. This young master is called Lin Shun. Could it be that Lin Shun? Suddenly, a female genius from the rank 6 alchemy department in a light yellow dress screamed excitedly, and her eyes were filled with admiration. Could it be the alchemy champion of the Pill region's Heaven's Choice Convention, Lin Shun, who is ranked 9,815th on the monster ranking? Lin Shun smiled casually. It's just an empty title. Compared to my handsome reputation, this title of champion is nothing. Heaven's Choice Convention champion? Nangong Yin was moved. He had heard of the Pill region's Heaven's Choice Convention for a long time. The alchemists who could stand out in it were all future alchemists in the sacred boundary. How could a young man like him win the championship? In the past, only those old monsters won the championship. No wonder this child's mental strength is so high. He's actually the champion of the Heaven's Choice Convention. Nangong Yin was a shrewd person. After pondering for a moment, he immediately put on a smile and said, Lin Shun, there's still room for discussion about opening the secret realm. Don't be so angry. Dozens of geniuses saw Nangong Yin's arrogant attitude a moment ago turn into a smiling Nangong Yin. They sneered in their hearts, and their admiration for Lin Shun rose to a whole new level. It felt good to be willful when someone with strength was willful. Before they could exchange a few words, the other party let them through and opened the mystic realm's door. Lin Shun withdrew his killing intent and flew through the air. Which genius wasn't smart? They immediately followed Lin Chen's figure. There weren't many opportunities to enter a high-level mystic realm. Although it was difficult to enter, it was easy to leave. There was a special sex space channel, so it wasn't difficult at all. After letting them through, the drunk old man cupped his fists and asked, Elder Yin, why are you doing this? The Nangong family directly provoked this child, so it's a bit troublesome. There's no harm in letting him in. If he dares to delay our important matters, the elders of the 9 Firmament Sacred Dragon Palace will naturally deal with him. The foundation of a rank 7 sect won't be shaken by a single alchemist. Nangong Yin revealed a smart smile and smiled knowingly. Chapter 1342. The Woodsea Azurite secret realm was vast and boundless. It was like a verdant land that was overflowing with vitality. Giant trees towered into the sky, making this place an excellent habitat for ferocious beasts. After a group of large sects gained control of a secret realm, they wouldn't completely uncover the secrets within. Firstly, high-level secret realms were extremely vast. Uncovering all the secrets required a large amount of manpower and resources, as well as top-notch experts. Secondly, there was the problem of distribution. There was often more than one sect in control of a high-level secret realm. If all parties poured in to uncover the entire secret realm, who would the important treasures that appeared belong to? Therefore, most of the sects chose to keep the high-level secret realms. As for the fortuitous encounters, they would leave it to the younger generation to fight for. Strength spoke louder than words. It could not only show the foundation of a sect, but also bring benefits to the sect. It wouldn't cause a big war, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. At this time, in the eastern part of the Woodsea Azurite secret realm, a group of elders floated in the air. We've searched this area. There's no sign of the auspicious beast. It seems that it has sensed our aura. We have to increase the search area. The auspicious beast is very important to the growth of spiritual plants. We have to get it before the other sects discover it. The elders' auras were long. They were all at the perfected 5th Heaven True Saint realm, and there was no lack of sixth heaven true saint realm existences. While they were discussing telepathically, another dignified young man with a cold and arrogant face flew over. The auspicious beast shouldn't be here. Let's go to another area to take a look. The young man's tone was innately superior, but the elders didn't complain at all. This was because this young man's value was worth his attitude and attitude. He was ranked 7345 on the Monster Genius list, Flying Shadow, Aurora Nangongju. This person had opened 52 saint acupoints. He was actually a transformation saint. After saying that, he immediately turned into an aurora and flashed across the sky at an extremely fast speed. This was his orange-grade movement technique, Extreme Shadow. The speed displayed by an orange-grade movement technique was vividly displayed in the hands of a genius on the Monster Genius list. Even these elders from the Holy Dragon Temple were ashamed of their inferiority. Let's continue to move and follow him closely. The 5 elders' figures flashed and disappeared. Auspicious beasts were strange beasts that were blessed by the fortune of heaven and earth. Any ferocious beast with a powerful bloodline had a very small chance of becoming an auspicious beast when it was born. What was different from ordinary ferocious beasts was that when these mystical beasts reached the 8th level, they would draw upon the fortune of heaven and earth and become true auspicious beasts. Their combat ability was not on par with holy beasts, but they could gather fortune to strengthen themselves. The path of providence was the most mysterious domain within the sacred boundary. Many top-notch sages could not understand it. Ordinary sects only knew that if they could raise the auspicious beasts in the area where the spiritual plants of destiny were, they would increase the production of the spiritual plants of destiny. They could even transform from low-grade to middle-grade spiritual plants, achieving a grade transformation. However, according to the known literature, this method of grade transformation was only effective for low-grade spirit plants. For middle-grade and high-grade spirit plants, it only had the effect of increasing the yield. Even so, the value of an auspicious beast could not be measured by the naked eye. Regardless of whether it was the beast race or the human race, it was a treasure among treasures. Auspicious beasts could sense the chi of heaven and earth. All saints had their own chi of heaven and earth. If there was danger or killing intent, the auspicious beasts would flee in advance. This was also the reason why the saints were unable to capture the auspicious beasts. The dim hall was as silent as ever. It hurts. I've lost 30% of my demon blood. The demon empress is so vicious. Lin Shun, Shadow, I want you to die. I want you to die an incomparably painful death. In the hall, a painful scream broke the silence. It was the voice of the ultimate shadow. In the void, a massive shadow was violently twisting. It was not dead. It had been slapped into a biscuit by Luo Yao, Er's casual palm, and it was struggling at death's door. It had the bloodlines of the dragon race, the demon race, and the innate shadow. When it encountered danger, it could immediately avoid its vital parts. In addition, the bloodlines of the dragon race and the demon race were extremely strong, allowing it to survive that palm strike. Even so, it still paid a heavy price. Its cultivation level dropped, and the blood essence that belonged to the demon race in its body was severely damaged. If it had been a little vigilant at that time, even if it was seriously injured, it would not have fallen to the point where its cultivation level dropped. However, it almost thought that it would succeed. After swallowing the 15th ultimate shadow, its bloodline would undergo earth-shattering changes. No one would have thought that they would encounter such a terrifying enemy at the final juncture. This seat will take your lives sooner or later. Shadow, Lin Shun, Demon Empress, I'll devour all of you. In the hall, the ultimate shadow was roaring hysterically as it extracted the energy of the void to heal its injuries. Outside the hall, the son of heaven heard the hoarse roar and shook his head in disappointment. In the end, you're still an impatient fellow. If it wasn't for the fact that you still have some value, you would have died in my hands. The son of heaven turned to look at the distant void, and the odd crystal between his eyebrows shone brighter. His eyes were deep. Lin Chun, huh? He has a very troublesome potential. My research is still lacking the last step. His expression suddenly revealed a bit of fanaticism and madness. After passing this last step, I will be able to cultivate high-grade, odd crystals. Back then, this seat withdrew from the demon race list and devoted myself to research in seclusion, all for this day. It's not far now. In the future, all the sects in the sacred boundary will have to bow down to me. The 36 regions will belong to me, the son of heaven, sooner or later. In the distant void, an ancient pagoda stood. In the space at the top of the pagoda, corpses were placed neatly on the floor. On the corpses, a sword had slit their throats, and there was no trace of blood. These people were all on the demon race list. At this moment, hundreds of people had died. If it was in the outside world, it would definitely shake the entire sacred boundary. But it seemed that the news didn't spread. There's also no news from the few law enforcement teams that were sent out. Who did it? To kill 300 of our human race's demons with one sword. This person must have divine sword skills and is close to the peak of the sacred boundaries, Sword Dao. When these demons died, their defenses were all broken. These 300 people are the backbone of the demon race outside the sacred boundary. If we nurture them well, our human race might have a few more Sacred Heart Realm or even heaven-opening realm powerhouses in the future. The key is how to appease the forces that lost their sex demons. If news of their deaths were released, I'm afraid it would be a mess. The losses are heavy. It's already troublesome enough. And now there's this Lin Chun who has the backing of the Demon Race Empress. He also killed one of our people on the Demon Race list. If this continues, the authority of the Demon Race list will be broken sooner or later. The old shadow at the top of the pagoda spoke with a strong killing intent and helplessness. Several ancestors have already personally sent a message to the higher-ups, and the news they received is surprisingly consistent. The almighties of the sacred boundary have all gone into seclusion. It seems that they have discovered something outside the sacred boundary. The old voice was filled with shock and palpitations. It seems that even the great true God is temporarily absent. Chapter 1343. On a verdant grassland, a delicate and beautiful young woman held flower petals in her hands, and her snow-white skin glistened. Only the antlers on her head were translucent like crystal jade, and they were enshrouded in a multicolored, crystalline brilliance. A strange glint flashed across her beautiful eyes, and her eyes, which were full of spirituality, were full of mockery. How can mere humans catch me? Your actions have long been under my control. The providence of any saint will not escape my intelligent eyes. Hee. She stuck out her tongue in a certain direction, mischievously, looking strange and cute. I've finally gotten rid of those annoying people. Sigh, being handsome is so annoying. Why did they chase me around all day long and ask me so many questions? A man in a silver robe slowly walked out of the forest. Just as he was about to release his spiritual power, he met the girl in a white dress who was still holding flowers and admiring them on the grass. When their eyes met, the girl's delicate body trembled. Her eyes, which were full of spirituality, stared at the newcomer for a while, and suddenly, a look of horror appeared on her face. She couldn't see it. She couldn't see this person's providence. Not at all. It was as if this person had appeared here out of thin air. But he seemed to be a saint. How could a saint not have a trace of providence? Who are you? Why are you here? The girl was extremely frightened, and her delicate body trembled slightly as she couldn't help but take a few steps back. She had never seen such a human who didn't even have a trace of providence. Lin Chen's eyes lit up. This girl had the light of an attribute light ball. At this moment, the girl's expression changed slightly, and she glanced in the direction from the corner of her eyes. Oh no, those humans who are hunting me are coming. The girl in the white dress got up, and her delicate body was overflowing with colors. Suddenly, she flashed across the sky. Whoosh! The moment she moved, Lin Chun took a step forward, and his figure flashed to the girl's side. He pressed her against the bottom of a tree, and the girl's face turned pale instantly. What was wrong with this man? She couldn't sense his providence and movement trajectory at all. Lin Chun stretched out his hand. What do you want to do? Don't think you can bully me just because you're handsome. I'm still a kid. The white-dressed girl screamed in fright. Lin Chun reached out his hand to stroke her head, and then stroked her multicolored jade horn. Host received 190,000 talent points, 210,000 talent points, 180,000 talent points. The girl's multicolored jade horn flashed with a large amount of attribute lights. Lin Chen's talent points soared madly. So powerful, so many, so great. Lin Chen's eyes lit up as he stared at the little girl excitedly, causing the child to tremble in fear. It's over. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have run out. Woo-woo, I shouldn't have listened to Mother's words. She said something about auspicious beasts wanting to find someone to shelter them for the rest of their lives. While the little girl in the white dress was sobbing, she realized that the other party did not do anything more excessive to her. Instead, he stroked her horns and hair, giving her a sense of comfort. The sea of flowers swayed as the young man pressed down on the young girl. The scene was both charming and strange. Received 390,000 talent points, 280,000 talent points, 300,000 talent points. Lin Chen's talent points were still rising. In the blink of an eye, it increased by 10 million points. What kind of little treasure is this? It can actually increase my talent points by so much. Lin Chun licked his lips with a dry mouth. Don't move. Just keep it like this for a while. What's your name? Seeing his increasingly excited appearance, the white-dressed girl's heart palpitated. Was he finally going to unleash his beastly nature? However, in less than a quarter of an hour, the talent points attribute stopped rising. That's it? More than 80 million talent points. So powerful. Lin Chen clicked his tongue in wonder and let go of the girl at the same time. Before the girl could speak, the sky rumbled and darkened. The white-dressed girl's expression changed slightly. Oh no, that group of people is caught up. Although she had endless potential and rare skills, she was not good at fighting. If her whereabouts were discovered, it would be difficult to get rid of them. Little brat, you dare to touch my Nangong family's auspicious beast? A thunderous and furious shout exploded, and a gray energy finger that pierced through the earth veins appeared in the sky. The fingerprint that was hundreds of thousands of feet long fiercely pressed down in Lin Chen's direction. The white-dressed girl's pretty face was pale, and her intelligent eyes were filled with fear. What are you pretending for? Lin Chen sneered. The 9-layered fire seal flickered in his palm as he urged 100 billion dragon power to condense it and fiercely slammed it toward the sky. Boom! A giant red flame palm that covered the sky and earth appeared, brewing the strongest pure power as it collided with the other party's tyrannical finger. Bang! 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 In the sky, the aftermath of the energy exploded everywhere, and exclamations came from the void. Body tempering saint? Third stage saint? No, it's not that simple. At this moment, Lin Chen narrowed his eyes, and a sonic boom tore through the void and rushed toward the white-dressed girl. With a flip of his hand, Lin Chen pulled the young girl to his side. 8 spiritual burning dragons roared angrily. Roar! One roar shattered 1,000 mountains, and one roar tore through the clouds. The entire southern mountain range collapsed in an instant, and the air collapsed into endless vortexes. The terrifying spiritual roar seemed to be about to overturn heaven and earth. A figure that had sneaked into the void was forced back dozens of steps by the roar. There's more. Lin Chen's lips curled up slightly. He swung his arm and threw the white-dressed girl into the sky. Ah! The girl screamed as she covered her skirt with her hands. Rip! Lin Chen's fingertip drew across the sky. An array of starlight appeared from nowhere. It was as sharp as 10,000 sword rays, and it cut open a shocking crack in the sky. Intermediate orange-grade cultivation technique, billion starlight. Lin Shun used his finger as a sword, and the power of his finger was like a divine sword unsheathed, dividing heaven and earth. Splat! The sound of wind being torn apart was torn apart, and a strange ray of sword light was shattered by Lin Shun. Lin Shun flapped his demonic wings, and he caught the white-dressed girl in the sky. He smiled and said, "Are they all here for you? How is it? Is it exciting? How can you be like this? You're bullying me." The white-dressed girl rebuked with tears in her eyes. "Why don't I give you to them?" Lin Shun smiled. The girl shook her head like a rattledrum. For figures appeared in the void, and their divine auras were as vast as the sea. They looked down at Lin Shun and the girl. "We've already sent a message to Elder Lu. He's on his way." One of the elders had just finished speaking when an aurora shuttled through the void. Nangong Ju, who had a cold expression and an arrogant expression, appeared. Beside him was a life and death realm elder. When Nangong Ju looked at the white-dressed girl, his eyes were filled with greed and fanaticism. The white-dressed girl couldn't help but lean closer to Lin Shun. This gaze was exactly the same as those people in the past. The four elders transmitted their voices to the life and death realm elder. When he learned that Lin Shun was not at a disadvantage after exchanging blows with the four of them, he couldn't help but be shocked. Such a terrifying young man most likely had a powerful background. "We are the deacon elders of the 9 Firmaments Sacred Dragon Palace. May I ask who you are?" The life and death realm elder cautiously asked Lin Shun. "Me?" Lin Shun raised his brows and said with a mocking smile, "I'm the last super handsome heavenly king after the 3 great commanders. I'm the common asset of all the females in the sacred boundary. My appearance is like a raging fire in the hearts of all the beauties. You can call me super handsome, but you can also call me hard arsonist. I'll deal with them later. You can take the opportunity to leave." Lin Shun transmitted his voice to the white-dressed girl, causing her to be startled. He wants to let me go." Chapter 1344. The white-dressed girl's eyes flickered as she stared at Lin Shun in a daze. All of the humans she had met had the appearance of coveting her. Only this young man actually wanted to let her go of his own accord. Where did this barbarian come from? How dare you touch my Nangong family's auspicious beast? You're courting death. Nangong Ju's body turned into a streak of light, his speed extremely fast. Because his cultivation was higher than Lin Chen's, Nangong Ju's speed was not inferior to Lin Chen's 9 wings of the Sky Devil. Auspicious beast? Lin Chen reacted in a flash. It turned out that this girl was transformed from an auspicious beast. Nangong Ju's 5 fingers flowed with faint wind blades, and a dragon's roar could be faintly heard as he clawed down. Shameless. The girl hasn't agreed yet, and she's already yours. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you to the end. Lin Chen laughed mockingly and pulled the white-dressed girl over. He wrapped his fist with holy power, and 100 billion dragon power exploded as he punched. Chi! Bang! Bang! One punch and one claw, exploding an energy storm that filled the sky. Both sides retreated. Lin Shun retreated 10 steps, while Nangong Ju retreated 5 steps. However, each of the latter steps was heavier. This kid can actually fight Nangong Ju head-on. Nangong Ju is a true disciple of my Dragon Hall. He's a super monster that the Supreme Elder rarely comes out of seclusion. What is this kid's background? He can actually fight him? While the elders were bewildered, the life and death elder shouted, "Now is not the time to be amazed. Since this kid is so stubborn, we'll take the initiative. Don't bother about bullying the young or bullying the young with numbers. The most important task now is to take down this auspicious beast." The elders looked at each other and activated their movement techniques in unison, charging towards Lin Shun to surround him. The white-dressed girl's pretty face showed some panic. Lin Shun smiled evilly. "I'm the one bullying the young with numbers." Whoosh! 6 9-color divine lights bloomed around Lin Shun. 6 illusionary avatars descended like stars supporting the moon, covering Lin Chen's retreat. When the illusory doppelgangers descended, 2 light purple and blood-red pills appeared in the palms of all the doppelgangers, which they swallowed. All of a sudden, Lin Chen's doppelgangers' auras skyrocketed. Their pure strength soared, and each doppelganger broke through 130 billion dragon power points. Their auras were like wild dragons, and their blood was like wild dragons. His saint energy circulated at a much faster speed, and as his saint energy circulated, thousands of illusions flickered. 3rd grade saint pill, wild dragon blood explosion pill. It was also effective for expansive cavern saints. The user would temporarily gain a large amount of pure strength, but it would consume a large amount of blood essence energy, causing them to fall into a weakened state afterwards. 4th grade divine pill, the 1000 phantom pill, could greatly increase the speed of the saint power and increase the speed of one's movements by more than half. However, the side effect was that the saint power in one saint acupoints would dry up. However, these side effects would have no effect on Lin Chen, because it was his clone that had consumed it. What? While the elders were horrified, the changes did not stop. Boom, boom, boom. The mountains trembled, and thousands of blue light pillars descended from the sky, forming 5 unprecedented water cages that enveloped an area of 1,000,000 miles. Raging waves surged, and water cages appeared everywhere. A dragon tens of thousands of feet long appeared in the sky, spitting out dragon breath. Yin and Yang dragon chi revolved around the dragon's body, and the dragons might suppress the surroundings. It was like a dragon king that ruled over heaven and earth, looking down on all life. The dragon's tail swayed, and the holy dragon soared into the sky. Together with the doppelgangers, a fierce battle broke out in the sky. 4 5th heaven true saints and 1 6th heaven true saints. Lin Chen's doppelgangers could block the enemy's 5th heaven true saints by themselves. Only the life and death realm elders needed his holy dragon and 2 of his doppelgangers to barely stop them. Hurry up and leave. Don't get caught next time. Not everyone can be as nice as this handsome guy. Lin Chen smiled mockingly at the white-dressed young lady. He gently pushed her away, and just as she was about to speak, she was sent away from the battlefield. Primordial dragon race? Nangongjue's brows were filled with disdain. A mere 4th heaven true saint with 10 billion dragon veins dares to show off in front of this young master? You're courting death. His 5 fingers tore through the air, wanting to forcefully tear apart the water cage and charge towards the white-dressed young lady. Rip! A streak of starlight streaked across the sky, and a powerful force shot out in all directions, blocking Nangongjue's claw. Lin Chen floated in the air, blocking Nangongjue's attack. You're probably on the Demon Genius's ranking as well, right? Nangongjue suddenly opened his mouth and sneered. However, this young master doesn't need to know your background. In front of me, Nangongjue, you're just trash. The Demon Genius's ranking is also divided into different ranks. Today, I'll let you know the difference between us. In the future, when you see people from my 9 Heaven Sacred Dragon Hall, remember to take a detour. Trash! Nangongjue activated his movement technique, and even the Holy Dragon's extreme hell heavenly prison couldn't trap him. His speed was extremely fast, and he turned into a streak of light as he shot towards the white-dressed young lady. Nangongjue's finger was like a shooting star as he pointed at the void. 5 hexagonal starlight streaked across 10,000 li and shot towards Lin Chen. Did most of the people on the Demon Genius's ranking eat sh*t? Their mouths are all so smelly. Lin Chen's lips curled up, and the demonic wings on his back unfurled. He turned into a streak of black light as he dodged the hexagonal starlight streaking towards him. His figure was within 100 zhong of Nangongjue. It's not a good thing for a man to be too fast. When Lin Chen's mocking laughter reverberated behind him, Nangongjue suddenly turned around, and his eyes trembled. This brat could actually keep up with his speed? Without a life and death foundation, ordinary fifth-level true saints wouldn't even be able to catch up to his shadow. Although Lin Chen's cultivation was far inferior to Nan Gongjue's, his 9 wings of the heavenly demon was a movement technique used by Clear Sky Sage King, and it was a mid-orange grade movement technique. A movement technique of this grade was extremely rare, not to mention 7th grade. Even 8th grade sects didn't have it. Not to mention, it was the rarest movement technique. Peak true saints could easily tear through spatial crystal walls and travel a long distance. Even if they used their holy power to fly, their speed would still be extremely fast. There weren't many movement techniques that could be effective against high-level true saints. The higher one's cultivation technique was, the rarer it would be. Just as Sword Domain's Jian Sheng had said, only peak true saints and First Revolution true saints could create orange-grade cultivation techniques. Even in the sacred boundary, the number of such existences was extremely limited. Lin Chen suddenly unsheathed his saber, and the azure moon split open the sky. Let the saber chi fly for a while, God's tear. Puchi, pung, pung, pung. A wisp of saber chi swept out. When it exploded, endless saber chi fragments bloomed. Every saber chi fragment was either a mental fragment, a powerful force, or a sharp saber chi fragment. They flew towards Nangongjiue. The terrifying storm of saber chi enveloped Nangongjiue like a calamity that could devour heaven and earth. 10 Palace Rashomon. Nangongjiue formed a seal with his hands, and the wind and clouds changed. 10 huge gates appeared out of thin air, and they blocked all the saber chi fragments. Instant light split shadows, 9-layer burning sky palm. Lin Chen's palm slammed out, and the huge flaming palm with the 9-layered fire seal turned into 5, crushing the 10 Rashomon gates. Crimson flames, holy power, and pure strength exploded, and the might of the palm crushed all the Rashomon. This kind of destructive power caused the elders to raise their eyebrows. This palm technique was comparable to one of the ultimate techniques of the 9 Heavens Saint Dragon Palace, the 9 Heavens Cloud Dragon Palm. Who exactly was this brat? Chapter 1345. Shua. At this moment, the two were outside the extreme hell heavenly prison. Nan Gongjue was too lazy to pay attention to Lin Chen. He had just caught up to the white dress girl, and a frightening, killing intent swept through the sky. I'll beat you half to death first, then snatch it. Nothing that this young master has set his eyes on can escape. Once I get my hands on it, I will ravage you properly. Nan Gongjue smiled cruelly and waved his hands. A huge green net covered the white dress girl's head. Whoa, I shouldn't have come out to play. The white dress girl was filled with regret as tears gushed out. Superdimensional teleportation. A beam of space saint light landed beside the white-dressed girl. Next, she was swept by a beam of demonic light, and the green net missed. What? Nangongjue's killing intent surged. When he reappeared, Lin Chen was hugging the white-dressed girl and teasing her. Oi, why are you so slow even when running? That's because I'm not good at fighting. Woo-woo. The girl was crying like a pear blossom in the rain. It's easy for you to get injured if I bring you along. Do you want to enter my fate plan pouch? It's fine if you don't trust me. Lin Chen smiled casually. While the girl was hesitating, she sensed Nangongjue's killing intent. Suddenly, she felt that this handsome little brother was like a savior. She immediately nodded like a chicken pecking rice. I'll go, okay? Don't give me to them. The clear snow plant pouch opened, forming a whirlpool. Lin Chen took the white dress girl into the clear snow plant pouch. If I don't cripple a trash like you, you won't know the immensity of heaven and earth, will you? Nangongjiue finally showed an impatient expression. He spun his palm, and a jade flute appeared. When he blew it, a murderous tune mixed with a sharp mental attack and a dragon's roar resounded throughout the heaven and earth. Blue Tide Birth. Chaotic Dance's mental attack was like a blade. Nan Gongjue's jade flute was like a supreme grade saint item, raising his mental attack power by several levels. The mental killing intent turned into a huge wave that covered the sky, causing the mountains and rivers to change color. Its might far surpassed the mental ripples of ordinary saints. This was one of Nan Gongjue's trump cards. There were very few people below life and death realm who could take on this move. Lin Chen didn't use his saber. He formed a seal with his hands, and 8 spiritual burning dragons appeared above his head. Still playing the flute? I'll let you brag. Instant light split shadow. The spiritual aura of Lin Chen's 8 spiritual burning dragons rose to a whole new level. The dragon shadow raised its head and roared angrily. The dragon sound spread out again and again, and the sound waves split into 5. TSK. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 spiritual storms collided like a vast meteor shower. Every time they collided, it was like an apocalyptic storm was erupting. The entire eastern part of the Woodsea Sky Green Secret Realm couldn't help but tremble violently. The sacred dragon temple elders, who were engaged in a fierce battle with Lin Chen's clone, could not help but look shocked. This kid actually took on Nan Gongjue's Blue Sea Tide? This was a trump card that even perfected stage 5 elders like them had to use all their strength to avoid. After a while, Nan Gongjue's arrogant expression finally revealed a hint of seriousness. He even looked a little angry from embarrassment. The more acupoints one expanded, the more condensed their saint power would be. A saint acupoint at stage 3 saints was equivalent to 500 million dragon power points. The expansion of the acupoints was calculated by 500 million dragon power points. As for the condensation realm, it was calculated based on the acupoint expansion realm. Nan Gongjue had expanded his acupoints 28 times for the first time, and the highest was 30 times. He had even stepped into the condensation realm, and his saint power was 4 times more condensed. If he expanded his acupoints 30 times, the saint power that one acupoint could contain was equivalent to 15 billion dragon power points. 4 times 15 billion dragon power points was 60 billion dragon power points. As a condensation realm cultivator, one saint acupoint could increase his destructive power by 60 billion dragon power points. If he opened 52 saint acupoints, a casual attack would have a destructive power of more than 250 billion dragon power points. This was also the reason why Nan Gongjue was so arrogant. He directly surpassed most of the perfected condensation realm saints. He didn't even care about the ordinary monsters on the monster ranking. He viewed them as trash. However, he couldn't even take down a stage 3 saints today. Very good. You have successfully angered me. Brat, no matter who you are today, don't even think about leaving the Sky Green Mystic Realm if you don't lose some meat. Nan Gongjue's murderous intent was strong. A green jade longbow appeared in his palm. It shone brightly like a green moon. When Lin Chun saw that green bow, his eyes lit up. He even licked his lips and asked with a dry mouth, how many more high-grade sacred artifacts do you have? Nan Gongjue sneered. Why? Are you feeling hopeless? I still have 3 more 5th-grade sacred artifacts. If you know what's good for you, kneel down and cripple your own arms. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead. Hopeless? Lin Chen was so excited that he almost jumped up. This is awesome. Brother Chun loves high-grade sacred artifacts. They are all ready-made set essence attribute points. Lin Chun raised one hand high, and the corners of his mouth curled up as he chuckled. Then, I will kindly accept them on your behalf. Snap! A crisp finger snap reverberated in the sky. Host has triggered Super Chaos 19 times, consuming 85 million talent points. All 6 targets have been activated. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Be it Nan Gongjue or the 5 sacred dragon temple elders, they were all trembling. There was a momentary lapse in their consciousness, and the chi, blood, and sacred power in their bodies became turbulent and chaotic. They were out of control. Rumble, Lin Shen's clone instantly suppressed the four elders. Only the sixth-grade life and death realm elder could still maintain most of his strength. Even though Lin Shen had consumed a sacred pill that temporarily increased his strength, his clone was still injured several times. The terrifying battle aura shook the entire eastern part of the mystic realm, and even the geniuses who had just entered the mystic realm sensed it. There's a battle. Let's go and see what's going on. Could it be the birth of a sacred beast? Let's go. A group of bold geniuses took the lead. Inside the extreme heavenly prison, the endless dragon breath attacks had triggered the super chaos talent many times. Once Lin Shen activated it, the situation immediately reversed. Nan Gongjue was bewildered, and the situation changed again. Whoosh! Rumble! A 100,000-foot-long grayish-white talisman descended from the sky, sealing demons and suppressing demons, and freezing the void for thousands of miles. Consumed 1,400,000 runes of energy to activate the slow talisman. What the hell is this? Ningongjue's movements became sluggish. 1/5 of his sacred power fell into a chaotic state, and 2/5 of it was frozen. His strength was instantly greatly reduced. Lin Shen flapped his heavenly demon wings, and his figure jumped like a star core, appearing right above Nan Gongjue's head in a flash. He held the Atlas sword. An endless starlight suddenly appeared in the woodsy, heavenly green mystic realm. The Atlas sword's body seemed to have become the center of heaven and earth, reflecting billions of starlight. Lin Shen slashed down violently. Intermediate orange-grade sword technique, billion starlight. Lin Shen unleashed the strongest sword technique since he became a sacred beast. Rumble, rumble, rumble. This sword caused heaven and earth to collapse. It was as if billions of starlight had condensed into a river of stars, slashing down from the sky. It was as if the Milky Way had descended from the nine heavens, where the starlight was the brightest and the sharpest. Nan Gongjue bit the tip of his tongue, and the sacred power in the 52 sacred points burned rapidly. More than half of it was gone in an instant, and when the odd crystal shone brightly, it actually broke through all restraints. His palm was like an enraged dragon, and he slammed his palm toward the sky. A shocking white dragon condensed from his vigorous sacred power erupted from his palm. Nine Heavens Sacred Dragon Temple's secret technique. Nine Heavens Sacred Dragon Palm. Chapter 1346. What is that? Oh my God. It's Prince Lin Shen and Nan Gongjue from the Nangong family. The group of geniuses had just arrived at the eastern part of the secret realm when they saw the terrifying Milky Way sword Qi. Only those at the second heaven, true saint realm, dared to approach. Even though they were millions of miles away, they could still feel the sharp aura that pierced through the heavens. Billions of rays of starlight shot out from the sword as a white dragon roared through the heavens. The sword and palm collided. Qi, rumble. The entire ground caved in, and the earth collapsed. The surroundings were reduced to dust, and the wind and clouds changed. At this time, Lin Shen's Milky Way sword Qi started to dissipate, and faint cracks appeared on it. It was clear that Nan Gongjue's cultivation was superior. Blood flowed from the corner of Nan Gongjue's mouth, but he laughed maniacally. Ha ha! In the end, I'm still superior. I'll personally cripple you later and ask the sect behind you to come and take you away. The Milky Way sword Qi suddenly became even more resplendent, and the Milky Way sword Qi split into 5. There's such a F***king technique. Nan Gongjue's eyes widened, but before he could finish his sentence, the Milky Way sword Qi crushed his strongest palm and fell straight down. Rumble. The Milky Way sword Qi slashed through the earth, and the winds and clouds changed. All of Lin Shen's Saint Acupuncture points dimmed. He had used all of his strength in this attack, and it had exhausted most of his saint energy. This Milky Way sword art is a sword technique that can only be cultivated by expanded Cavern Realm experts. However, I managed to cultivate it with the Tai Sky concealing technique. I can barely use one of the 3 moves, and its power seems to surpass my 9 tribulation star. It's indeed powerful. Lin Chen exhaled deeply and put away his sword. He immediately activated the clear snow plant pouch and refined a large amount of gold Saint Origin coins to replenish his energy. At this time, the Holy Dragon and the heavily injured clone rushed over and protected Lin Chen. With Nan Gongjue's defeat, all the battles stopped. When the smoke dissipated, both the geniuses and the elders of the Holy Dragon Temple, who were watching the battle from afar, couldn't help but gasp. The earth vein collapsed, and 5 shocking sword marks extended for hundreds of miles, tearing open 5 deep abysses that were hundreds of miles long. These abysses were so deep that one couldn't see the bottom, dividing the entire earth vein. In the air, the life and death realm elder of the Holy Dragon Temple carried the unconscious Nangongjue, who was bathed in blood. His expression was uncertain. Very well. How dare you injure a member of the Sacred Dragon Temple? Kid, tell me your name. The life and death realm elder's face twitched crazily as he fiercely roared. If he had not used his secret technique to forcefully break out of the encirclement, Nangongjue might have been crippled. Even his life-protecting sacred artifact had been shattered by this kid. However, Lin Fan was still as frivolous as ever. When a dark shadow appeared in the air, he held a pendant that was glowing with purple light in his hand. The life and death realm elder's face turned ashen and sinister. That was Nangongjue's spatial sacred artifact, his entire fortune. This marshal will never change his name or his surname. I'm so handsome that I can shake the heavens and the earth. I'm so arrogant that my name is Lin Shun. If you're not convinced, let's meet again next time. I guarantee that I'll treat you well. Lin Chun waved his hand. His frivolous laughter was filled with a carefree tyranny. Lin Shun, our Holy Dragon Temple will remember this. The life and death realm elder gnashed his teeth. With a wave of his hand, he led the other 4 elders to retreat. This kid's movement technique was strange, and he also had a clone and a sacred dragon helping him. It was too difficult for them to take him down. They might even have to pay a disastrous price in a bloody battle. This is too strong, too fierce. Big Brother Lin Chun is simply my life's goal. He forced back so many elders of 7th grade sect by himself and heavily injured young master Nangongju. He also has heaven-defying talent in alchemy. The gap between people is too big. All the geniuses were dumbfounded and sighed in amazement. Lin Chun waved his hand, and the sacred dragon collected the attribute light balls dropped by Nangongju. This time, he had obtained more than 3 million points of set essence. In the void, there was also a treasure chest that was glowing with multicolored light. Lin Chun grabbed it with one hand and picked it up. Host has obtained an orange-grade secret mental technique, exact grade unknown, heavenly cycle seal of life and death. This technique can plant an imprint in a target's mind. If the imprint is successfully planted, the user will have absolute control over the target's life and death. When the imprint is detonated, the target's mind will be destroyed and they will die. Note, if the user's mental realm is higher than the host's, there's a high chance of failure. If the imprint fails, the user will suffer a heavy mental injury. Regardless of whether it is a sacred beast, human, demon, or dragon, it can be used. This technique cannot be used on the Azura race. Oh, what a magical technique. It can actually plant an imprint in the mind of an expert. Lin Shin clicked his tongue in wonder and immediately stored it in the system. He looked at his 2 clones that were heavily injured and the sacred dragon that was slightly injured. Not only was he not angry, he even nodded his head in praise. Under the premise of extreme god possession and instant light doppelganger at full power, my clones and the sacred dragon were able to block a life and death realm expert. Even I didn't expect this result. The strength of a life and death realm expert far surpassed a transformation realm expert. When their saint acupoints were tainted with life and death chi, their saint power would increase by leaps and bounds. Being able to block a life and death realm expert had already exceeded Lin Chen's expectations. He then released the white dress girl from the clear snow pouch. All the geniuses were shocked. That was an auspicious beast that was rarely seen. All right, you're safe now. Be careful next time. It's not like someone will come to save you every time. Lin Chun patted the girl's head. The furry feeling was quite comfortable. Defeating the people from the Nine Firmaments Sacred Dragon Palace could be considered a small favor for obtaining a large amount of talent points from her. However, in the next moment, what made the geniuses' scalps go numb was the white dress girl actually knelt on one knee and held Lin Chen's palm. Her beautiful eyes were filled with admiration and reverence. Her cherry lips parted slightly, and a cute smile appeared on her pretty face. Auspicious Beast by Qian is willing to serve you as my master. I hope master won't dislike me. I can sing, cultivate provident spirit plants, and even warm your bed. Rumble. A beam of light shot into the sky, and a colorful Qilin mark appeared on the back of Lin Chen's hand. All the geniuses' jaws almost dropped to the ground. Auspicious Beast recognizing a master? Since ancient times, it was extremely rare for an auspicious beast to recognize a master. This was because they could sense the providence of heaven and earth and pry into the great Tao of heaven and earth. They had the same ability as powerful fortune tellers. Those who could obtain the acknowledgement of an auspicious beast were all people with great providence. This kind of behavior couldn't be forced. It could only be done voluntarily by the auspicious beast. This meant that Lin Chen's potential had already obtained the approval of this auspicious beast. Auspicious beasts only recognized one master. If their master died, they would lose the auspicious beast's providence for the rest of their life. They would no longer have the ability to occupy providence, and they would even age faster and die. Even Lin Chen was a little dumbfounded. What's going on? Am I so handsome that even auspicious beasts can follow me on their own accord? Lin Chun pretended to be deep and sighed. Who is the peak at the end of the line? You're all empty now that you've met me. All right, get up. Seeing that you know how to warm my bed, I'll reluctantly accept you. Remember, don't come out if you have nothing to do. Stay in my clear snow plant pouch. Although Lin Chen's tone was frivolous, it was more amiable. An auspicious beast, recognizing a master, was equivalent to giving half of its life to their master. He wasn't worried that she would pry into his secrets. Amen. Bai Qian obediently replied with a amen. Her intelligent eyes were filled with admiration and admiration. She had to cozy up to him. This was because she had personally witnessed Lin Chen's Saint Cave absorbing golden Saint Origin coins in clear snow plant pouch. 60 Saint Caves. This handsome little brother of the human race had 60 Saint Caves when he was only a third-stage sage. This was unheard of since ancient times. Also, he had that item. He was the first human race that wouldn't forcefully claim her as his own. Most importantly, Bai Qian's smile curved into a crescent moon. He was handsome enough. Chapter 1347. 2 days later. For the first time, Lin Chun felt the vastness of the wood-sea sky, green mystic realm. He could not help but sigh at the mysteriousness of this high-level mystic realm. It took him 2 full days to find the legendary ominous ground, the Eye of the Hurricane, before he even found a clue. During this period of time, he had consumed another 900 million points of high-grade cultivation technique essence to learn the life-death cyclic seal. This secret manual was indeed unique, and even Lin Chen's mental attainments had risen quite a bit. Once the life and death universal seal was engraved into a living being's spiritual consciousness, it was equivalent to controlling all of the other party's spiritual power. With a thought, he could wipe out the other party's spiritual consciousness completely. But at the same time, there was a limit. One spiritual power was directly related to how many living beings one could control. Secondly, under normal circumstances, Lin Shun could only control living beings whose spiritual power was lower than his. It was very risky for him to face beings whose spiritual power was higher than his. If he failed, the user's spiritual power would be severely damaged, and he would be at his weakest. Maybe I can use this life and death universal seal to cultivate a few sacred beasts as fighters in the future. Over the past few days, Little Shadow had also helped Lin Shun break open Nan Gongjue's extreme shadow pendant. The rare treasures inside shocked Lin Shun. Nan Gongjue was also a Saint-grade alchemist. Moreover, he had a very rich collection. There were many 4th-grade, Saint-grade treasures. In addition, there was a low-grade plant of Providence pouch in this spatial sacred artifact. Lin Shun had obtained 4 low-grade plants of Providence. Green Spirit Jade Tree, Blood Rose, Overlord 100 Colorful Flower, as well as supplementary spiritual plants and star spiritual plants. Lin Shun clicked his tongue in wonder. These plants of Providence were the cream of the crop among low-grade spiritual plants, and he had obtained all of them. Nan Gongjue's value had further expanded Lin Shun's resources and foundation. Ever since the last encounter with the ultimate shadow, Little Shadow had become a little taciturn. He only focused on cultivating, and the speed at which he devoured Saint Origin coins had increased. As a result, Lin Shun's demand for pills had increased. Lin Shun really did not mind having more resources. He wanted as much as he could get. As Lin Shun pondered, he had already arrived at the easternmost part of the Wood Sea's Tianqing mystic realm. As far as the eye could see, this place was covered in a grayish-white color. There was not a single trace of life within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles. Far away in the gray and white gorge, a storm was raging, and at the center of it was a 1,000 feet wide gray cave. This is the eye of the hurricane. Lin Shun's expression was solemn as he strengthened his defense with his saint energy. Just the residual power of the wind is enough to force me to defend myself with all my strength. What a terrifying power. It was no wonder Luo Yao had said that no one below the strength of a 6th-level true saint would be allowed to get close to it. People with strength wouldn't come to this damn place, and people without strength wouldn't even come close. In the center of the cave, there was only an endless storm of spatial fragments and countless violent hurricanes of destruction. That is, Lin Shun scanned his surroundings with his mental power. After confirming that there was no one around, he activated the Devil Seal on his palm. TSK. The Devil Seal on his palm surged with ever-changing devil chi. Lin Shun's appearance and figure changed in an instant. He became 9 feet tall, with horns on his head and an evil and awe-inspiring appearance. He looked just like a demon. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After transforming into a demon, Lin Shun's entire body was covered in purplish-black bubbles. Lin Shun took a deep breath and rushed in, turning into a stream of light. The moment Lin Shun entered the eye of the hurricane, even with the devil chi protecting his body, a sense of dizziness, as if the world had been turned upside down, immediately rushed towards him. It was as if he had been thrown into the center of the hurricane, and the world was spinning. After a moment, Lin Shun's mental power stabilized, and he immediately found his direction. He flew into the lifeless grayish-white cave. Along the way, destructive wind blades flew like snowflakes, cutting Lin Shun's bubbles from time to time. However, the devil chi protected him tightly, allowing him to breathe a sigh of relief. As expected of the secret passage to the holy prison, this place is more like a spatial fault between the green domain and the outer space. There is only endless storms pouring in, and there is nothing here. Those who have the ability to enter will not care, and those who do not will not even come close. Lin Shun followed the spatial passageway. The deeper he went, the more terrifying the hurricane became. Lin Shun asked himself, if he didn't have Luo Yao's help, the only way to resist this hurricane would be to rely on the pure strength of the war god Vambrace. At this moment, in the Nangong family's hall, a holy dragon temple's supreme elder rushed over. He looked at Nangong Ju, whose injuries could not heal and who was screaming in pain. The corners of his mouth twitched, and his face looked as if he had eaten **T. The life and death realm elder trembled and said in self-reproach, "We did not protect you well." "Elder Chow, please, smack." Rumble. The life and death realm elder was slapped out of the hall. Elder, please calm down." The other elders immediately knelt on one knee, their faces full of fear. This elder was usually quite magnanimous. Why did he turn hostile today? Damn it. The supreme elder exuded the aura of a star-receiving realm expert. The people of the Nangong family kept quiet out of fear. Do you know why I hit you? I'm not blaming you for not protecting me well. I'm blaming you for only knowing how to go into seclusion. Seclusion, my ass. The Grand Elder scolded him, and everyone was dumbfounded. Was seclusion also wrong? Why don't you pay more attention to the news from the outside world? **CK. The saints were dumbfounded. That kid is a monster who can punch through the boundary tower. Why did you ask Nangong, Jew, to provoke him? Why didn't you stop him? The corners of the four elders' mouths trembled. He punched through the boundary tower? After spending 2 whole days, Lin Chun finally reached the deepest part of the cave. At the end of the grayish-white hurricane cave was a 5-foot-wide wormhole, emitting a faint spatial power. If not for the fact that he was extremely close, he wouldn't have been able to sense it. Lin Chen's heart raced. His spiritual consciousness connected to the war god Vambrace, ready to counterattack at any time. I'm so nervous. I'm finally going in. Holy prison. This was one of the most terrifying forbidden grounds of the human race in history. Lin Chun rushed into the wormhole, and his body instantly flipped over at extreme speed. Bang! By the time Lin Chun reacted, he had already landed in a huge abandoned cell. There was a crack under the cell. It was the crack that led to the eye of the hurricane cave. Lin Chun scanned it with his spiritual power. There were words carved on it. Second level, cell 250. He was here, the second level of the holy prison. This cell seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. Lin Chun easily walked to the outside world, but he was still very careful. When he left the cell, he saw a vast and boundless world. Some of the cells were huge, and the chains were heavy. There were also countless small islands floating in the void. The cages on them were tall and strange. The prisoners here were at least at the expansion stage. However, the depressing and silent feeling that Lin Chun had imagined did not appear. Instead, on the small island, when Lin Chun listened carefully, "Brother, you seem to have developed quite well. We're in the same cell. Don't stand on ceremony. Let me take a look. Brother Jia, don't. My high voice is higher than anyone else in this world." Lin Chun. His handsome face was full of question marks. I didn't sneak into the wrong place? Chapter 1348. The waves run, the waves flow. The river flows for thousands of miles without end. Washed away, the world worries. All right, stop singing. This song has been sung for 1,000 years. Can't you change it to something new? Then I'll sing something new. You're too beautiful. Get lost. It's impossible for him to work. Brother Yinlong, we're locked in the same cell. My battalion's equipment, Brother Chu, it's not that I don't want to return it. You know the situation now. When one is unlucky, one's fart will hit one's heel. But my battalion's equipment, look at my memory. Were we just now? There were all kinds of voices talking on the island. When Lin Chun slightly activated his spiritual power to eavesdrop, he was completely dumbfounded. What grudge do I have with you? You tricked me and tricked me into coming here. You won't even give me 100 yuan. You're shameless, and you're still laughing. No matter what difficulties we encounter, don't be afraid. Face him with a smile. Give me. Little brother, let me tell you about my mighty deeds. Back then, before I was imprisoned, I held 2 Xianhua axes and chopped from the south gate to the north gate of the 6th-rank sect, Sukuan sect. I chopped for 7 days and 7 nights. It was a bloody scene. I chopped down countless sages, but I didn't even blink my eyes. You didn't blink for so long. Aren't your eyes tired? Is this a matter of whether my eyes are tired or not? Little brother, save me. Little brother, lick him. I didn't cheat. Let me out. I've been handcuffed for too long. Are there any friends who haven't been handcuffed? Come to Island 233 and help me scratch my butt. Autumn pear cream. With my bravery and my wisdom. It's easy to get 1,000 soldiers, but hard to find a general. I'm learned and handsome. I'm the only one who can compete with Zhuge Kongming. Zhuge Kongming nodded his head. I've never seen such a shameless person. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. What the F asterisk CK? I'm tricking you, monkey. Why did you only lock me up on the 2nd level? Do you know what kind of honorable status I have? Who are you looking down on? Huh? I have a friend who has been paralyzed for hundreds of years. After reading the book My Martial Arts Depends on X, he was able to walk as fast as flying and cross thousands of miles. His whereabouts are still unknown. Before he left, he was still holding a condom in his hand. Is the friend you're talking about yourself? Lift up the light yellow dress, and you'll see fluffy hair. Don't go. He'll pull it out bigger than you. Sitting alone in a prison cell as a wife. I'm ashamed to mention this to outsiders. A roll of paper was neatly arranged on the table. One up and one down, they entered the scene, sometimes fast and sometimes slow, their eyes blurred. Bit by bit, they fell to the ground. Afterwards, they realized that it was meaningless and decided not to make another wife. Late at night again, the $1 million standalone computer was updated, and the rolls of paper on the table were neatly arranged. Little brother, you've only been here for 1,000 years. Let me tell you, the good points of us men should be like us brothers. First, we don't expose ourselves. Secondly, he had to be able to hold on during critical moments. Third, be good at nurturing successors. Fourthly, he had to be good at attacking and making his opponent feel comfortable. Fifth, after victory, he could be humble and restrain himself. So, have you learned it? What does it have to do with me? I only care about whether my readers have eaten or not. It's too dirty. This novel is too vulgar, too vulgar. So I'm subscribing. Let me out. That Saintess Qing Yao is spreading rumors. I'm not a prostitute. I'm not a prostitute. I'm so handsome. Who's a prostitute? Besides, I didn't even pay. How can it be considered a prostitute? Brother, don't call me that. You've had your fun, but what about me? I'll let my second brother down. I've never had sex with him in my life before I got locked up. Wow. I'm F asterisk King having a mental breakdown. For the first time, Marshall Lin was so confused that he doubted his life. What kind of talents were locked up in this holy prison? They're too strong. They're all talents. Before Lin Shan could say anything, Little Shadow automatically flew out from Qing Shue's plant pouch and shrouded Lin Chen's body. His presence was completely eliminated. Little Shadow's cultivation had increased again. Lin Chen's presence was as small as a speck of dust. Even when he soared into the sky, he did not alarm anyone. Lin Chen flew high up in the sky for an hour, but he could not see the end of it. He wanted to see the whole 2nd level of the holy prison in its entirety. This place was like a vast and endless land with countless islands in the sky. The prisoners locked up in the sky were much stronger than those locked up on the ground. Lin Chun and the Sword Saints from Sword Domain had a rough understanding of the holy prison. In the first 5 levels of the holy prison, prisoners would be released regularly to participate in the extermination of the demons in the holy prison. From the 6th level onwards, there would be demons roaming around the holy prison. The prisoners in the holy prison would only be safe if they returned to their own cages. Otherwise, they would be surrounded by a large number of demons. This method was to maximize the value of the prisoners and exterminate the demons. The 2nd level of the holy prison is even bigger than the Jiuzhou continent. Lin Chun was shocked and amazed. However, he felt that there was an even bigger opportunity ahead. Along the way, he had been using the God-stealing omen to steal a large number of attributes from the prisoners. For those whose cultivation was lower than the host, the God-stealing omen would not be able to steal attributes. However, The prisoners locked up in the second level were at least at the expansive cavern realm. Even if every prisoner could steal attributes once, Lin Shen's harvest was unprecedented. At this time, a faint fluctuation of saint force was brewing. Lin Shen quickly suppressed it. No, I have stolen too many battle chi essences. If this continues, I will enter a state of automatic breakthrough and forcefully enter the expansive cavern realm. At that time, if there is any fluctuation of saint force, it will be very likely to be discovered. Lin Shen stopped moving forward. Little Shadow had perfectly concealed his presence. Lin Shen sat cross-legged in the air and began to form hand seals. Tai Fu Tian, seal the acupuncture points. As soon as the hand seals were formed, Lin Shen's saint acupoints were completely sealed under the disguise of devil chi. The sealing of acupuncture points this time is a little too fierce. It will take a lot of effort to undo it in the future. However, it's good that this disguised devil man is a fake. This time, I can only rely on pure physical strength and mental force, as well as a small number of trump cards. I have to avoid unnecessary battles as much as possible. This time, it was the strongest acupuncture point seal he had ever done. The passive effect of the extreme god possession talent increased his mental cultivation method by 300%, and the effect of the acupuncture point seal was also increased by several times. The seal was tightly sealed, and there was no chance of it leaking out. Lin Shen looked at the devil seal on his palm. What Luo Yao had left for him was not only a disguise technique, but also a secret technique to remove the seals of the prisoners in the holy prison. There were also secret techniques to break the spatial barriers of the holy prison. If it wasn't for Yao Er's help, even if I was a sixth heaven true saint, the failure rate would be extremely high. Lin Shen exhaled deeply, and his expression was incomparably solemn. This time, he was truly walking on the edge of the sharpest blade. If he was exposed, there was a high possibility that he, Lin Shen, would be trapped in the holy prison forever. The holy prison had existed since the beginning of the sacred boundary. No one knew what kind of terrifying existence was hidden here. Chapter 1349. Little guy, let's go. Little Shadow wrapped around Lin Shen and transformed into a silent shadow that flashed through the void. Lin Shen began to gallop around the second level of the holy prison. Wherever he went, he would madly steal the attribute points of countless prisoners. He was somewhat glad that Xiao Qian would occasionally accumulate talent points. Otherwise, with such a high consumption rate, just the talent points needed to activate the stealing god's omen talent would not be enough. After a while, Lin Shen approached a prison cell. An old saint was sitting cross-legged on the ground. His body was pierced through by countless barbs. His saint meridian was like a dried-up sea, and there was not even a trace of saint power left. The old man's eyes still flashed with a sharp light from time to time, but more than that, he was in a daze. However, the most terrifying thing was that there was a mysterious nine-shaped mark between his eyebrows. It was filled with ripples and fluctuations that could affect space. This mark is the main reason for imprisoning prisoners, the Nine-Killer Seal. Lin Shen approached the wall of the prison cell. His movements were extremely light as he narrowed his eyes. The Nine-Killer Seal was a mark that the prisoners of the holy prison were branded with. This mark could perfectly devour the saint power of a saint and transform it into a brand new power to suppress the prisoner. Not even a trace of saint power could be recovered. With this seal, the holy prison suppressed countless prisoners. No matter how powerful a saint was, they would not have a chance to escape. This mark could only be removed by the prison guards of the holy prison with a unique seal. It is said that every level of the holy prison has a prison master. The prison master has the highest authority to use the Nine-Killer Seal to kill the prisoners on the spot. If I want to save someone, I must not disturb the prison master. Otherwise, I will die before I can save them. The method to remove the Nine-Killer Seal had been engraved in Lin Shen's demonic seal by Luo Yao Er. He could use it at any time, but now he needed to fully understand the holy prison before he acted. Lin Chen's figure flashed. After stealing the attribute points, he disappeared again. The next day, in the center of the second level of the holy prison, there was a grayish-white land. Countless giant chains were connected to a sky island. This island was different from the prison cell. There were many palaces on it, and it was dazzling. Waves of singing, dancing, and playful laughter echoed in the palace. Lin Chen floated in the air and was extremely cautious. He even activated the heavenly invisibility rune to hide his mental strength. Only then did he release his mental strength in an instant and sweep it over. He could see everything that was happening in the palace on the island at a glance. Apart from some dancers and guards with the strength of ordinary saints, the guards on this floor are mainly 10 perfect condensation realm experts, 10 life and death realm experts, and 1 receival realm expert. Among them, the receival realm expert Shi is not inferior to the captain of a law enforcement team that I met earlier. He must be the prison lord of this floor. Lin Chen was at the 7th level of the star receiving realm. Against an expert at this level, no matter what means he had, he could not contend against him. Only the 3 pieces of the Aries set could fight against him. Even the peak life and death realm had forced Lin Chen to use the Aries set. Just the strength of the guards on the 2nd floor was already so terrifying. If Lin Chen were to be exposed in this operation, it was extremely likely that only death awaited him. This holy prison was not outside the sacred boundary. The warning that Luo Yao engraved on his back would not have any effect here. Lin Chen retracted his mental strength in an instant and looked directly below. Directly below the palace was a giant spatial door that was 100 feet wide, connecting to the lower areas. It was the spatial entrance to the 3rd floor of the holy prison. Little guy, are you confident that you can hide completely? Lin Chen transmitted his voice to Little Shadow. The little guy nodded seriously. No problem, cuckoo. Whoosh. Lin Chen flashed to the spatial door. This place was bleak and dead silent. Almost no one came close. Ordinary criminals would not come close even if they had temporary permission to move. Who would want to go down to the next floor? Buzz, buzz, buzz. Shadows suddenly emerged from Little Shadow's body like a tide. Like a fog, they covered the void within 1,000 feet of Lin Chen. From the outside, there was no change. This was one of the innate Dark Shadow's bloodline special ability, Void Shadow. Lin Chen's eyes were sharp and his hands were agile. He activated the demonic seal in his palms and formed an obscure seal according to his familiar memory. Universe shift, 9 demons universe, enter. Whoosh! Lin Chen turned into a stream of light and was sucked into the spatial door. When the spatial door rippled, Little Shadow opened his mouth and swallowed all the spatial ripples without alerting anyone. His spiritual eyes were full of contempt, as if saying, "That's it?" Then, Little Shadow followed Lin Chen and disappeared in a flash. Kaboom! Bam! 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 Mother asterisk cur. You son of a b asterisk tch. I happen to be full of resentment. Today, I'll fight with you bastards. Kill. Kill all of you die. Just as Lin Chen arrived at the 3rd floor, the sounds of battle shook the heavens and earth. Murderous intent surged like a tidal wave. Waves after waves of Saint Qi collided with the demon Qi in the air, creating a chaotic mess. This level is full of demon kings, and there's even an army of high-level demon monarchs. Lin Chen stared at the demon monarchs in the void. They seemed to be rushing out from a certain direction without fear of death, forming an earth-shattering army. The vast 3rd level was now covered in blood and carnage. The corpses of the Devil Clan were everywhere. If any Saint Realm expert fell, their flesh and bones would be gnawed by thousands of Devil Clan experts. They would die horribly under this momentum. Even if Saints could instantly kill high-level demon monarchs, they would still be killed by the terrifying number of demon monarchs. The entire 3rd level of the Saint Prison had been turned upside down. Lin Chen felt goosebumps all over his body. It was as if he was back in the desolate era, when the human race and the devil race fought to create the heavens. The saints fought fiercely, and 10,000 devils rushed over. Ha, that's how it is. Work harder. You bunch of scum who have done everything in the outside world. The only use you have is to provide this Lord with the only pleasure. At the center of the third floor of the Saint prison, on an island protected by countless barriers, a fat man in a yellow robe sat on a noble Chilean palanquin. Inside the red gauze tent, his face was full of fat, and his body was naked. A beautiful woman's head was bowed in front of him, constantly moving up and down. The yellow-robed fatty's malevolent face was filled with madness and laughter, occasionally letting out a happy and lewd laugh. Peak of the Na Xing realm. This is the prison master of this level. Lin Chen quietly hid at the edge of the third level. Although there were countless attribute light balls falling from the battle between the humans and demons, Lin Chen's safety was his top priority. He restrained his aura to the minimum and hid beside an abandoned prison cell. No, this lord has roamed the sacred boundary for 100,000 years and stepped into the top 100 of the genius list. Why would I die here? Just because I didn't comply with the orders of an 8th-rank family and didn't hand over my lover. I have to suffer this fate. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Not far from Lin Shun, there was a pale and handsome middle-aged man. His sane energy had dried up, and as he was defeated, he was bitten by countless demons. His flesh was torn apart, and before he died, he let out a hysterical scream. History has always been written by the victors. After these saints died, I'm afraid no one knows what kind of injustice they suffered in their lifetime. Lin Shun sighed in his heart. In this saint prison, there were probably too many people who had died in vain. Chapter 1350. Cries of pain were drowned out by the waves of demons. Although the Saint Realm criminals here had been very strong when they were alive, they did not have any saint power left in the holy prison. Even if they could move for a short time, the speed of recovering saint power was extremely slow. Facing the slightly stronger Saint Demon King army, they would definitely lose if they fought for a long time. The battle lasted for 4 days and 4 nights. Lin Chen stayed hidden and did not move. He did not recklessly approach the entrance to the 4th level. Although Little Dark Shadow's concealment skills were brilliant, if he was caught in the whirlpool of battle, there was a high chance that he would show up and reveal his flaws. I've only killed 2,102 Saint Demon Kings this time. That's just SOSO. Over 500 of them died. What a bunch of trash. Can't they bring some useful ones to my floor in the future? Damn it. The barrier around the sky island in the center was lifted. The big-bellied, yellow-robed fatty hugged 2 beautiful women. With a flick of his finger, a meteor-like ray of light cut through the 3rd level of the holy prison. The 9-killer seal between the eyebrows of the released Saint Realm criminals was activated again. Their saint caverns were sealed again. Many of the saints who were lucky enough to survive did not even have time to enjoy the wonderful moment of having saint power before they returned to their previous state. Their faces were full of regret and frustration. It's not easy to have saint power for a while. Damn it. Why don't we all work together next time and attack that prison island? Save it, Old Lee. Does your saint caverns have saint power? All our possessions have been taken. Not to mention that we don't have saint power. Even if we were at our peak, we would not be a match for those people. The only possibility is to self-destruct. Sigh, I don't know how many old friends will die the next time it opens. Do we really have to die here? Just as the saints were feeling dejected, more than 10 prison guards descended. Everyone immediately fell silent and obediently returned to their respective cells. There were far more criminals in the 3rd level of the holy prison than there were in this battle. This battle was both work and fun for the prison guards. They treated the lives of the saints as nothing. Lin Chen looked at a pitch-black hole in the distance. The more demons he killed, the smaller the hole became. So that's how it is. The holy prison is built in a certain space of the demon race. Every time the demon race appears, they can only be within the range of the space tunnel. Using the leftover strength of the criminals, to regularly eliminate a large number of demons. This coolie was really a ready-made one. The battle is over. Clean up the battlefield. Lin Shun had once again swept through the third level. Obtained 120,000 rune energy, 2 billion advanced essence, 120,000 fire energy, 5 billion advanced HP. The entire third level of the holy prison was filled with elemental light balls. Lin Shun spent another 4 days just to collect and steal attribute points. Lin Shin's attribute points welcomed an unprecedented surge. However, his Saint Acupoint had automatically sealed itself, and all the high-grade chi and blood energy had been transferred to the Saint Dragon, not allowing anyone to notice that he was about to break through. On the 9th day of entering the third floor, Lin Shun seized the opportunity to sneak into the entrance of the fourth floor. Working perfectly with Little Shadow, they repeated the same trick and sneaked into the fourth floor. Holy Prison, 4th level. Entering the 4th floor, the sun was shining brightly, and it was full of spring. The surrounding mountains were verdant, rising and falling like the outside world. It made Lin Shun wonder if he had come to the wrong place. However, after confirming that he was still in the holy prison, Lin Shun was still cautious. Lin Shun continued on his way, arriving at a verdant public square. Over here, there were actually 3 gigantic stone statues. Each of them had a green-faced fiendish face and 3 heads and 6 arms, resembling an Azura. What's going on? There are over 10,000 holy prison criminals here. Lin Shun was shocked. Many of the criminals in the 4th level of the holy prison were gathered here. He activated this Steel God's Omen to steal attribute points while observing the situation. In front of the stone statue, there was a kind-looking old man. He was wearing a purple and gold robe, and his eyes were filled with the vicissitudes of life. However, there seemed to be something else in the depths of his eyes. Everyone, please kowtow with all your heart. Do not harbor any evil intentions. The old man walked slowly to the front of a holy prison criminal and said calmly, "Have you comprehended the law of salvation?" That criminal trembled all over. He definitely did not have the bearing of a saint. There was only fear in the face of death. "I have comprehended it." The old man shook his head. "No, you haven't." Whoosh! Bang! Crack! Crack! The old man's palm slammed down and actually smashed the top of the criminal's head. Even his saint bones were smashed into smithereens. The criminal couldn't be any more dead than this. This scene made Lin Shun feel extremely strange. All the saints present felt as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. They were afraid that the old man would ask them about it in the next moment. The old man waved his hand, and the saint's corpse slowly dissipated, turning into a mountain range full of vitality. This mountain range is all transformed from the body of a saint. Lin Shun was a little shocked. If that was the case, wouldn't the 4th level of the holy prison be full of saint corpses? "I can't stay here for long. This old man is too strange." Lin Shun did not have time to sympathize with the holy prison criminals here. He immediately fled after stealing the attribute points. Fortunately, that strange old man had gathered a large number of holy prison criminals. Lin Shun used less than a day to steal the remaining criminals' attribute points. Then, he found the entrance to the 5th level, and Jian Wuji, who Lin Shun was looking for, was on the 5th level. I heard from a few seniors in the Sword Realm that the 9 kills nail might be on the 6th level. As long as I save Jian Wuji and find the 9 kills nail, this mission will be completed. Lin Shun was invigorated. Little Shadow activated his bloodline ability, and he formed another seal to open the giant spatial door. During this period, Lin Shun's attribute points had reached a terrifying number. It was even more terrifying than when he was in the Boundary Tower. It was second only to the Law Enforcer's battle later. If he continued to dive down, Lin Shun's attribute points would definitely skyrocket. Holy Prison, 5th level. Compared to before, the 5th level of the Holy Prison looked like a blood plain. There were prison cells everywhere. Lin Shun had just arrived when he sensed a strange aura. Lin Shun approached one of the prison cells and found that there were two tall and handsome criminals in the cell. Their faces were a little yellow, as if they had been hollowed out. I really don't have a single drop left. I'm about to break. Hurry up and King kill me. I don't want to stay in this damn place even if I die. I King want to vomit when I see a woman. The two of them wailed, and Lin Shun was a little confused. What was going on? Looking at the two of them, it seemed like they had just done something. When Lin Shun finished stealing the attribute points, he carefully approached the center of the 5th level. He found that pink palaces were built in all directions, and they all exuded a charming aura. From time to time, there were criminals from the holy prison being pulled into the palaces in groups, and there were also many criminals who crawled out of the palaces with trembling legs. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. The prison master and prison guards of this level were a group of women with lethal weapons. Too fierce. Who can withstand this? Chapter 1351. Lin Shen sneaked into the building and was extremely careful. He only stole attribute points and did not dare to do anything else. The prison overseer of the 5th floor was a charming woman with a hot body. Her snow-white face was extremely charming. However, there was a trace of ruthlessness and ferocity between her brows from time to time. At this time, the beautiful woman's waist was soft. She was lying lazily in the center of the hall, like a beautiful snake. Beside her, there were a few male prisoners who were serving her in fear and trepidation. I can't see through her cultivation. She is most likely an expert of the Sacred Heart realm. Lin Chen's expression was solemn. He did not even dare to look at the female prison overseer for fear of being discovered by her. Where is Jian Wuji? According to the memories of the dean, his characteristics have more or less changed after so many years. As Lin Chen was thinking, he suddenly heard the discussion in the hall. Wei go and get the roster for number 1000 and 1100. The queen wants to see it. Remember, don't steal it first. Otherwise, if the queen finds out, you will die miserably. The queen has never been merciful to her own people. Yes, Wei understands. The conversation between the two prison guards attracted Lin Chen's attention. Roster? Could it be? Lin Chen immediately moved and followed the prison guard called Wei. She turned several times and came to the dark dungeon. There were dozens of rosters piled up as high as a small mountain. After she found the roster she wanted, she left the dungeon with a fearful expression. Lin Chen confirmed that there were no mistakes. He immediately activated the system and recorded all the rosters here. The system used a very short time to record all the rosters here. Found it. Cell 68, Jian Wuji. Why is his name circled? Lin Chen was puzzled. There was a voice outside the door. To be safe, Lin Chen made sure that nothing had been touched and immediately left the dungeon. Then, Lin Chen left the center of the 5th floor and stole attribute points along the way to find Jian Wuji's location. Finally, one day later, Lin Chen finally found cell 68 on the solitary island. Lin Chen couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Cell 68 was bigger than all the other cells. Moreover, it seemed to be decorated simply and neatly. There were even a few bookshelves placed inside. A man with messy hair, a handsome face, and sharp eyebrows was holding an ancient book and reading it carefully. He was very engrossed. He was wearing a green robe, but he didn't have handcuffs or leg cuffs. However, he was still sealed tightly by the 9 Killers seal. There was not even a trace of sane energy left. Just in case, Lin Chen didn't show himself directly. Instead, he sent out an extremely shallow thought. Jian Wuji? The man was shocked. He put down the ancient book and looked around. Who is it? Who called me? Could it be one of those prison guards? But the voice just now sounded like a man. After confirming his identity, Lin Chen's figure slowly appeared in the cell. Facing this figure that appeared out of nowhere, Jian Wuji cried out in shock. Demon race. Senior Jian Wuji, there's no need to panic. Lin Chen stated his purpose and true identity. He even removed part of the Demon King reincarnation technique and revealed his true appearance as a human. Hearing Lin Chen's true identity and purpose, Jian Wuji's heart was filled with shock. This kid dared to sneak into the Saint prison alone? What was even more terrifying was that he had succeeded. He had successfully arrived in front of him. "You're actually Old Man Ling's student, and you're actually from a mortal world." Jian Wuji stared at Lin Chen's appearance and couldn't calm down for a long time. He didn't dare to imagine that a person from the mortal world could still stand on the sacred boundary, break through the Emperor realm, and even sneak into the Saint prison that had stood for eternity. After calming down for a long time, Jian Wuji said seriously, "I do have some idea about the cultivation technique you're looking for." Lin Chen couldn't help but feel a trace of ecstasy. He had the whereabouts of the 4th chapter of the Tai Heaven concealing technique. Jian Wuji changed the topic. "However, I couldn't figure out the secret of this item, so I left it in my family sword manor. Later on, although I destroyed my enemy's family, I was also captured. That enemy's family property was probably taken over by that rank 8 sect. It most likely fell into the hands of the ancient sword sect in the Sky Sanctuary." Rank 8 sect, ancient sword sect. Lin Chen frowned, but at least he knew the direction. "Little guy, I admire your methods, but this is not a place you should have come to. I've already told you what you wanted to know. Your future potential is limitless. As long as this 9 killer seal is here, you won't be able to save me. Leave quickly." Jian Wuji shook his head. The days in the Saint prison seemed to have worn away his arrogance and fighting spirit. "Senior, don't worry. Since I'm here, I'm naturally prepared," Lin Chen said with a smile. His palm formed a seal and touched Jian Wuji's forehead between his eyebrows. Whoosh! Jian Wuji's 9 killer seal was completely erased. Rumble! His 60 saint points emitted a roar. Like a hungry beast, they crazily absorbed the thin spirit chi in the air and converted it into saint chi. This is... Jian Wuji couldn't believe it, and a trace of intoxication appeared on his face. The feeling of having power was too wonderful. It was the dream of countless experts imprisoned in the saint prison. Only by controlling Saint Chi could one become a true saint. You can actually erase the 9 killer seal. That old man has groomed an incredible student. Jian Wuji looked at Lin Chen with a very interesting gaze. This young man's actions had refreshed his understanding of him time and time again. At the same time, in the palace, the charming and sexy woman's aura suddenly shook, sending the 4 men who were serving her flying. Her beautiful eyes flashed with disbelief and murderous intent. The Jian Wuji that this king has taken a fancy to has been erased. In the cell, Lin Chen opened the jade box, and a transparent saint pill the size of a longan appeared. This was a 4th grade saint pill that he had specially prepared to recover his saint chi, the heavenly snow saint origin pill. However, before Lin Chen could give the pill to Jian Wuji, their expressions changed slightly at the same time. Rumble! A murderous intent came from the southwest. Lin Chen and Jian Wuji were not ordinary experts. They immediately sensed that the murderous intent was coming in their direction. Our whereabouts have been exposed? Lin Chen's heart sank. Jian Wuji seemed to have woken up from a dream. He seemed to have recalled something, and his expression changed suddenly. "Oh no, I forgot that the demonic woman has taken a fancy to me. The 9 killer seal has been triggered by other restrictions." Jian Wuji's words instantly made Lin Chen think back to the time when he saw Jian Wuji's name being drawn with a circle on the name list. Lin Chen's scalp tingled, and he said subconsciously, "Senior, you have been taking a fancy to buy the female Hell Master? What time is it now? Why are you still so handsome?" Jian Wuji said, "I don't know either. I'm also very annoyed." Lin Chen, you should know that being handsome is really annoying. Lin Chen was at a loss for words. He was actually speechless. Jian Wuji immediately said in a deep voice, "Do you want to fight?" Lin Chen exhaled, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. "If I want to fight, I might provoke a group of them." He looked in the direction of the entrance to the 6th floor, and a hint of madness appeared on his face. Since I've been exposed, it seems that I have to play something big. Chapter 1352. Senior, please take the elixir and enter my plant pouch, Lin Chun said in a low voice. Lin Chun swallowed the heavenly snow saint origin pill and entered Lin Chun's peach blossom pouch in a flash. Now that his holy cave had just been opened, his combat power was less than 100%. He would only be a burden to Lin Chun if he stayed with him. In less than 10 breaths, the female Helm Master of the Sacred Heart Realm arrived at an incredible speed. She roared in the sky. Fine. The female Hell Master pointed her finger, and the void was shackled. She smiled and said, "Where did this little rabbit come from? How dare you trespass into my territory?" Her figure flashed, and she arrived in front of the cell. Her expression suddenly changed. Within the prison cell, there was only a graceful and elegant young man. His face was fair and delicate, and he seemed to be a delicate scholar that had yet to shed his childishness. He didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. What surprised the female Hellmaster was that Jian Wuji was nowhere to be seen. "Hellmaster, why don't we sit down and have a talk?" The young man smiled gently and charmingly. The person who stayed behind was Lin Chen's doppelganger, who was wearing the 1,000 illusion mask. At this moment, Lin Chen moved forward at full speed with the help of the dark shadow. He spread out the 3 pairs of heavenly demons' 9 wings, and his speed was as fast as the stars. The sky demon's 9-winged movement technique could only be executed at its fastest speed when all 9 wings were opened. Currently, Lin Chen had only opened 6 wings and had yet to reach perfection. Once he reached perfection, he would be able to take another step forward through the strengthening function. Lin Chen swept past the border of the 5th level of the holy prison. It was like a space passage connecting the Milky Way to the 9 heavens. It's really closed. It seems that it's impossible to return to the previous level. The only thing left is to move forward. The corners of Lin Chen's mouth involuntarily curled up. Sure enough, being restrained was not suitable for him. He was indifferent to life and death. If he was not convinced, he would fight. "Since I'm here, I'll turn the holy prison upside down." Lin Chen flashed, and Little Dark Shadow used void concealment. Lin Chen was like a stream of light, shooting straight into the entrance of the 6th level. At this moment, Lin Chen clearly felt that his doppelganger had been killed. However, he had bought some time. On the 6th level, the vast land seemed to be covered with a layer of silver gauze. The sounds of battle echoed faintly in the surroundings. "Have we reached the 6th level?" Jian Wuji communicated with Lin Chen with his mind. Lin Chen smiled and said, "We are here, which is the witch which is still looking for us." Jian Wuji said, "I heard that if there is a mistake in the area guarded by the Helm Master of each floor, they will have to bear a heavy responsibility. If the situation is serious, they might be removed from their post and punished severely. It is also possible that they will be demoted from Helm Master to a prisoner. Unless the situation is very serious, that which shouldn't have immediately reported our situation to the next floor. We don't have to worry about our whereabouts being exposed on the 6th floor for now." Jian Wuji changed the topic and said, "However, little guy, are you confident? According to what you said, you snuck in from the 2nd level. The passage to the 5th level has been cut off. There's no way back. Even if I recover to my peak state, I don't have a chance of winning against that witch." Lin Chen smiled domineeringly. "The so-called way back is to rely on your fists. Senior, hurry up and recover. Leave the rest to me." Lin Chen continued to explore the 6th level of the holy prison. As long as he could obtain attribute points, his chances of success would not be 0. Fortunately, I obtained a lot of attribute points before. Since I snuck into the holy prison, I've used up 400 million talent points just to steal attribute points. I still have 7 billion left. Plus, little Qian will generate talent points every once in a while. It should be enough. Lin Chen stole like crazy. He was the king of thieves. Host has obtained 100 million spiritual power, 39 million fire energy, 2 billion high-grade essence, 29 million strengthening points, 9 million rune energy, 2 billion high-grade blood points. 50% of the criminals locked in the 6th level of the holy prison were life and death realm or above. Lin Chen's attribute stealing had caused his value to explode. Even a holy dragon felt like its dragon veins had opened up. It was becoming more and more powerful. On the 6th level, there were many battles between criminals and demons. This caused Lin Chen's attribute points to rise again. What puzzled Lin Chen was that he did not find the 9 karma nail that the dean had mentioned. It could seal the 9 demon eyes of the 9 provinces. Could it be on a lower level? I can only continue to dive deeper. 5 days later, Lin Chen once again approached the entrance of the 6th level and snuck in. Lin Chen began to head to the 7th level of the holy prison. Boundless darkness. It was like an eternal hell. In this place, baleful aura overflowed. Demonic intense sword. The surrounding mountain range was desolate. There were 7 demon eyes nearby. From time to time, a large number of terrifying holy demon kings would appear from the demon eyes. There were hundreds of them. Kakik, we finally squeezed out. The human world seems to be no different from our world. This king smells fresh blood. What pure, holy blood. How wonderful. This is a taste that can't be compared to no matter how many of our kind I've eaten. Yahaha! Groups of holy demon kings roared as they charged into the mountain range in an aggressive manner. If they were in the outside world, this group of holy demon kings would be enough to sweep through many saints. However, a might that could sweep through the galaxy and devour the starry sky suddenly appeared. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down. A world-destroying wind swept over, sweeping away all the demons. Rumble, pung, pung, pung. The savage and ruthless Saint Demon Kings were instantly blasted apart, exploding. What was even more terrifying was that these holy Demon Kings were shattered by the holy aura that was tens of thousands of miles away within a few breaths of time after they appeared. Their corpses were not left behind. The shattered demon corpses scattered everywhere, adding a hint of desolation to this eternal darkness. In the center of the mountain range, more than 10,000 feet tall prisons stood. They each occupied a corner and were less than 10 miles apart. Above each prison was an inverted iron pillar that looked like a dragon. It exuded an imposing aura that could suppress all evil. The supreme holy aura that had shattered the group of demons earlier had been emitted from these 10 or so prisons. These prisons were like the remains of a prehistoric civilization. It was as if each prison imprisoned a terrifying existence that could sweep through history. Just a trace of aura could kill a group of demons? Ha! Old fellow, aren't you fulfilling the wishes of those fellows by killing those little demons? An extremely hoarse and strange laughter sounded from one of the prisons. It sounded as if one's throat had dried up for countless years. It's not up to you to force me to do things. I just don't like the demons. It has nothing to do with those bastards. Another voice replied indifferently. That's right. This area was the deepest part of the holy prison, the 19th level of the holy prison. To be more precise, it should be the 17th to 19th levels. These 3 levels were connected to each other, and these 10 or so prisons were the deepest part of the holy prison. Those who could be imprisoned here were all people who had once stood at the peak of their generation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.